Hello and welcome to Spurs Kings TV. It is Tuesday and you don't know what time it is. It's time for Ashmatic Analysis. But again, my co-host is late. Always bloody late. He's just like Spurs at the moment. In, out, in, out, in, out. But anyway, let's not care about Ash. He'll be here in a bit and he'll give you the breakdown of the Chelsea game. However, I've got a few guests tonight joining me to break down because obviously we ain't been on since Bournemouth. So look, there's a few things to get through. We need to get through Bournemouth. We need to get through Chelsea. We need to get through Ange. We need to get through Levy. So do you know what? I thought let me bring in a panel that can help me with these topics. But first of all, I want to welcome back a big key part of Spurs Kings TV from when we started from the beginning. But Andy, are you well?
Hey guys, you alright? You okay?
I am good. How you feeling? How's everything in your neck of the woods, Spurs and all?
Everything else is alright apart from our team, but we'll get into that, I'm sure.
Of course. Right, and I just have to let everyone know. I think it was after the Chelsea game, all you said to me is, when's your next show? I said Tuesday, and you had to come on, yeah?
I know, as soon as you said Tuesday, I said, I think I'll have to vent.
Next guest. Now, I can't have a Levy out and out debate and a Spurs debate without this guy. He's the king of it. He knows what he wants. He knows what he wants in Spurs. But welcome, Stel. Are you well?
Yes. Why is my camera not working?
We can see you.
Okay, I can't see myself. Doesn't matter.
We can see you.
Yeah, listen, good to be on the show. Big up to you boys and the chat. Listen, man. Levy out, Enoch out, Lange out, Ange out. I haven't budged. And 6 months ago on We Are Tottenham TV, I told everyone exactly what's going to happen. Go back and watch that video. It's 20 minutes long. Word for word, I fucking nailed it, man. I am the messiah. Honestly, I am the GOAT of YouTube right now. Okay, I'm joking. I'm bantering. But literally everything I said has just happened. Everything. I said this would happen. And I'm not surprised one bit, Marlon, Andrew. Let the games begin.
Yeah, indeed.
And then last of all, someone who's been very key and very supportive of this channel asked if he could come on, and obviously we obliged and said yes, he's making his debut tonight with us. But Eugene, are you well?
I'm good. What's up, Marlon? Stel,
All good.
Andrew? Yeah, like Andy said, after the Chelsea game, I reached out. I'm like, hey, I gotta come on for a bit. I'm questioning everything that I've been thinking and feeling for a while. So it's not a great time, obviously, to be a Spurs fan, but we move.
Yeah, but Marlon knows what he's doing when he gets you on the show because he puts me and Still together, and he knows exactly what he's doing. So,
Well, same.
So for me to wind you both up, yeah?
yeah, basically, yeah.
Look, I want to talk about Bournemouth first, right? And the reason why I want to talk about Bournemouth is because it led into everything that happened against Chelsea as well, right? But the Bournemouth, look, I think everyone said it was a poor performance. However, look, Bournemouth have beat Manchester City this year at home, and they've beat Arsenal at home. So what? So everyone, some people asking questions. What was Spurs expecting to go and do? Andy, why was it we were having? Why is it that Ange got the abuse he did after the game? If we were expected to go there and win, or not win, lose anyway.
Who said we was meant to go there and lose? Who said that?
Well, I would say that because look, a lot of people have been saying, a lot of people that have been backing Ange goes, look, Manchester City have lost there, right? We're not better than Man City, right?
Yeah.
Even though we beat them 4, Arsenal have lost there.
Yeah.
Technically, Arsenal lost with 10 men, right?
Yeah.
So why are everyone expecting Spurs to go there and get a result?
Because if we're going to think we're just going to go there and lose, it's a bit of a loser's mentality. It's nonsense. We should be walking over teams like Bournemouth. I don't care who they beat this year. It's as simple as that, really. I mean, we went there with an awful attitude. We went there with an arrogance that we were just going to turn up and win, like we have done a few times this season, like we've done against Brighton at 2-0 up, like we've done against Ipswich at home, like we've done against Fulham at home. We've had that arrogance where it's like, we just need to turn up. Palace away as well. And it was exactly the same. It was basically copy and paste from those games. And it's only the games that we actually don't have no pressure on us that we actually do well. And the games that we do have pressure on a Thursday night at Bournemouth when it's cold and soggy, you can see the 3-point lane team turn up.
Eugene, I want to bring you into it as well. Like, obviously, it was lethargic. There was no effort, and a lot of Spurs fans came out of that game going, if that ended 3-4 or even 5-0, it was kind of expected. Why are Spurs showing no energy in this game? You know, we should be used to Thursday, Sundays now. Why?
Look, for me, it's not just one game, and that's why I think fans are pissed off, because it's not just that one game, right? It's Roma, Fulham, right? It's all these games where not only we draw points, but the performances have been shocking, right? Whether it's the tactics, where it's the players doubting tools. So I think it just adds up. And if you look at Bournemouth and Chelsea and Fulham, it's not just that specific game per se.
Yeah,
It's this whole season. So it's just, it's Ange's inability to adapt. It's the players not stepping up when they need to. It's lack of leadership. It's our thin bench, right? It's everything. And the fans are rightfully pissed off at this whole situation.
still Thursday. Quickly, let's just quickly go through it. Obviously, you've heard from Eugene, you've heard from Andy. What was your thoughts on Thursday? Like, what is the big issue with Spurs right now? Why is it that when they came up against Bournemouth, it wasn't a case of, okay, we didn't even play well. We couldn't even string two passes together. There was no effort. There was just no nothing. We just had the ball, and let's be honest, Fraser Forster probably got man of the match. Who you started calling the tree, and everyone's caught on.
Yeah, it's my fault. Yeah, that's right. I'm to blame. It's not one issue. It's layers and layers of issues. It's Enoch, it's Levy, it's Lange, it's Ange, and it's the fan base, and it's the YouTubers and the podcasters. If you want me to be really honest and keep it real,
Thanks,
I'm just repeating. Listen, man, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. I'm just repeating what I say on my channel. The things I say to people in the comments that seem to want to come for me, and now they're all looking a little bit daft. The reality is this. Last season, I said, I'll give Ange one season because he's lost Harry Kane. It's a massive blow. We haven't replaced him. He needs time to implement his philosophy, implement his way, to understand which players need to go, which need to come. And losing Kane for me, he's the first manager in 8-9 years to not have Harry Kane. Okay, it's a massive blow. But I said, the one non-negotiable I've got with Ange is this. If at the end of the season he re-signs Werner, get out of my club. Because if you re-sign Werner, that says to me, 1, you're accepting mediocrity. 2, you're accepting bang average players. 3, it's coming from above and you're a yes man to Lange. And if you're a yes man to Lange, you're a yes man to Levy. And if we do that, re-sign Werner, we are going to have a stinky transfer window. Get rid of this Tony, Neto, Eze out of your minds. Don't listen to the fake ITKs, the fake journalists, all the gurus on YouTube, everyone who thinks they know it. If we sign Werner, we're cooked. And I said this. The evidence is out there. And what did we do? Solanke, Yang, Bergvall, Gray. We desperately needed to fix that first team because we capitulated at the end of the season. The first team wasn't good enough. We knew we had Europa Cup and we wanted to go on a good cup run this year, which means you've got to fix the first team first. None of those players fixed the first team, not even Solanke for me. And here we are, 6 months on in this mess of a situation. It's on Enoch because they do this under every manager. It's on Levy because he brought in Mann, who brought in Lange, who brought in Ange. It's on Lange for his dog shit recruitment. And it's on Ange because this brother, this Aussie are dealers of Australian Crocodile Dundee Wurzel Gummidge manager. This guy, no matter what players he's got at his disposal, no matter who the opponent is, 9 times out of 10, this is how we play. It is insane. Once in a while, he adapts a little bit, like we did at City away.
Yep.
But if you know you haven't got pace at the back, if you know the other team's got explosive wingers, if you know the other team's in good form and we're not in good form, you must adapt to the situation. You must learn to manage differently. When you're 2-0 up against Brighton, 2-0 up against Chelsea, sit back, reserve your energy, be compact, let them come on a bit, we can defend it, and then we go again. And when you go again, get your third and fourth goal. He never ever adapts. So,
Okay.
Marlon,
So
it's
there
on
is a
all of
question.
them.
There is a
And
question.
the fans
to this.
defend it. The fans
Yeah.
defend it. So many defend it, man. So that's why the fans are
I don't.
playing.
So there is a question.
Not
There is a
you.
question to this.
Many others, Andrew. Many
There
others.
is a question to there is a question to add on to this, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I'm going to ask this, right? But if we look at Conte, right? And yes, I know still me and you weren't Conte out, but if you look at Conte, everyone said that us sitting back and soaking up that pressure wasn't sustainable, right? And it seems like that whatever way we do it, it just doesn't seem to work. Even if we go a bit pragmatic sometimes, for some reason, Spurs can't seem to soak up the pressure, the defenses get found out. So is it really a case of if he does be pragmatic, would it even work? Because
Marlon,
we've tried
Marlon,
this,
can I
we've
answer
gone
that?
down this route before.
Marlon,
go
let
on.
me answer that, right?
Go.
Conte did what he thought was best with a much weaker team. Did he get us Champions League? Yes. Did he leave us in the Champions League position? Yes. He did what he could with that squad. He had Dyer, Longley, Chicken Face, Doherty, Højbjerg, Skips, all sorts of madness. Now,
He did have the best player in the world though as well at his disposal.
one top player. And do you know what?
But that shows you how good he was. Yeah, but that shows you how good he was.
Which is why I gave Ange 1 year.
Yeah.
Right? I did say that's why I gave Ange 1 year. However, Conte, what he did was he didn't adapt because he couldn't with what he had. Can Ange adapt with what he's got? Yes, he can. Now, if we went gung-ho under Conte, that defence would have got blammed.
Yep.
With Ange, we're the complete opposite. We've gone from one extreme to the other. We're all out attack. And Ange's answer to everything is, well, you know what? We're going to be exposed, but we'll score more goals than you. Oh, no, you won't when you come up against certain teams and certain managers. Fulham, who have been a very attacking team this year, with Mark Silva as manager, they played Arsenal on the weekend. Did they play the same way they played all season? No. He adapted to Arsenal and got a point because he knew he couldn't do it that way. And this is the difference. So you're right with what you say about Conte to a degree, but in my view, Ange is the extreme opposite. I think attacking-wise, we're fantastic. The amount of goals we scored proves it. Spurs on the front foot are dynamite. But in terms of controlling a game of football and defending, it's the Wild West, man. It's a shootout. It's like watching a Western. It's insane, man. And that's my criticism with him. And he hasn't shown me he's prepared to fix that. If he fixes that, we got a chance. But he's not. He's not fixing that. So I think the comparison between him and Conte are different. Plus, Conte's won every major league he's been in, top leagues in the world, and he's doing it again now in Italy. So I don't think comparing them two is fair.
The only reason why I compare those two, and look, I look at it slightly different, is because when you come into a situation of Tottenham Hotspur, it's different. No matter what, it's completely different for it, and it's a different environment for everybody. And I'm going to use an example to why I'm using this. Let's take Jadon Sancho, right? He went to Manchester United, terrible environment, 80 million, whatever he was. Everyone thought he was crap, right? He goes back to Dortmund, different environment, good. Comes back here, back to Man United, doesn't really get along, goes to Chelsea, shows what he was doing at Dortmund. So sometimes it's a different environment. So for me, it doesn't matter which manager we have.
Or a different
Conte.
manager, Marlon. Or he's working under a different manager.
Yeah, but if the culture's still the same, all the managers are going to get the same result, right?
Some managers can get more out of the team, right? Mourinho got us to a cup final. Conte kept us top four. Poch almost won us a trophy. With Ange, I don't see any of that. I
But
don't see
again,
any
but
progression whatsoever.
But again,
Nothing. This is
with
my concern.
but with Mourinho, he did have Kane and Son at the top of their game. Son then became at the top of his game with Conte when we actually got fourth. He was top goal scorer that year, and Kane, threw his toys out the pram with Nuno, and then decided to turn up.
But Mourinho's brilliant. If you give him an 8 out of 10 player, he'll turn them into a 10 out of 10. If
Yeah,
you
of
give him a
course.
5 or 6, he doesn't know what to do. That's why elite players have to work under Mourinho. Mourinho isn't that manager. Spurs can't have a manager like that because we need a manager like Poch, for example, who can work with a couple of elite players, but in general, give him good players and give him some youth, and he'll progress it. So that's probably the only weakness of Mourinho, which is why he's only really been successful at elite clubs. But the thing with Mourinho, give him eliteness, he will deliver. Maybe not the current Mourinho, but the Mourinho we grew up like knowing.
Why you're talking about Ange, and we're actually talking about what he could have done on Sunday. And actually, this question's coming to the nick of time. So I'll go with Eugene, go to Andy, and then back to Stel. But what would the panel have done differently versus Chelsea when it was 2-1? Right? Should Ange have told us to play like CP played v us, physical to stop the play? Eugene, I'll start
So
with you.
that's what I was trying to think about. So look, from what I was seeing, we gave up possession. I think at one point Chelsea had 70% possession or 65% possession. So they were in the control of the game. We went to low block, but at the same time, for some reason, we were still wide open. And I'm not sure why, right? So either I understand when we control possession, we can be hit on the counter, which makes sense to me. That's just Ange's tactics. But Chelsea had all the possession and we were wide open at the same time, which to me made no sense, right? But then on the other hand, if I take a look at the bench, when it was 2-1 and it was Ange's turn to bring some subs in to shore up the midfield and to shore up the defense, we don't have anybody on the bench to come in and do so. The Madison is not that player, right? And then who else? Archie Gray is not that player. Obviously, we don't have the Bentancur. So there was nobody on the bench who I think Ange could have brought in that would have impacted the game in the way that we needed them to. Again, I'm not saying it's not Ange's fault. Of course it is. The tactics were shocking. But we're
Yeah.
super thin right now. So again, I don't see who else could have came in at that time to take control of the game.
Marlon, isn't Eugene contradicting himself there? He's saying, he's not a professional manager, but he's identified that we didn't have players to come on and change it. So don't play the tactics that need those types of players. Completely adapt the tactics for the players you've got when you're in a difficult situation. It's a complete contradiction.
But we did, right? So that's what I'm saying. We gave up possession and we sat in low block for a lot of the game, and we were still wide open.
It weren't in a low block. Look at the amount of times Chelsea got in behind us, bro. That's not a low block. We gave a lot of space. That's not a low block. Sorry.
But that the reason why was because, and this is something this is where I'm going to kind of back up Eugene in the sense they tried, but there was a certain man in the midfield that wasn't doing his job properly, right? And I questioned this in the first half, and this was Basuma. Basuma allowed the ball to be played into Palmer, Sancho, and everything in the middle too many times, and he was caught out of position. And I think even Carragher put it on Sky Sports on the Monday Night Football, right, where Basuma just wasn't doing his job properly. And this was what really cost us. And then Sarr didn't help him out either in that middle of the park. So every time Chelsea kind of got the ball, they literally were just playing it through the middle.
Okay, well, Marlon, you spent £40 million on a number 6. Bring on the number 6, Archie Gray. Otherwise, why do we spend the money? And the amount of space.
This is where I kind of do agree. You have to take the risk. Yeah.
This is the job of the manager. Try something different. He doesn't. And on top of that, if Basuma is allowing this to happen, stop inverting the fullbacks, allowing more of that space in behind. The point is, if he changed something, like what I've said, Archie Gray in the 6, or the fullbacks not inverting to allow the space in the middle because Basuma's not playing well, if Ange did that, I can't come on here and have this debate. I'm like, he tried, but he didn't do it. He doesn't do it, and we put it down to, oh, but we don't have players on the bench. Adapt,
Okay.
man. Try something different.
So I'm just going to go back to Eugene's point, and use something you said earlier. So, but if he's not bringing on someone like Archie Gray in that situation,
Yeah.
are these his signings then? Because
who said I'm happy with the transfer window? Who said this is my squad? Who said I'm happy with the progress? Now, if he's lying, get him out. He's a yes man. I don't want a yes man at this club. If he's telling the truth, it's on him. You can't have it both ways, because when we were missing Bentancur, when we were missing Van de Ven, when we were missing Romero, when we had a busted Vicario in goal, when we were missing Richarlison and Odebert against Man City away, winning 4-0, no one said nothing about the tactics. No one said nothing about the manager not having the players on the bench, which he didn't. No one moaned a single iota. But as soon as it doesn't go right, let's bring out the excuse out the locker. Do you know what Ange did against Man City? He changed the tactics. The fullbacks weren't inverting the whole game. We weren't playing out from the back most of the time. We were much deeper, and we played counter-attacking transitional football. He adapted in that game. So he can do it. He chooses not to. So I can't sit here and listen to this, guys. When we won, oh, we got injuries, he can't adapt. But when the same players are out, oh, but he hasn't got the players, he can't adapt. It's crazy, man. To me, it's crazy. I'd like to hear what Andrew has to say on this, man, because
go on, Andy.
I don't get it.
Oh, man. Listen, there's so many problems in this football club, man. Listen, the manager is one of the problems, but I don't think he's the main problem. When we look at, for example, even the game on Thursday, even the game on Sunday, the fact of the matter is you've got two issues here. You've got a manager who's tactically inept, in my opinion. I'm really sorry, but his tactics are all over the gaff. You've got a manager who doesn't know how to keep a compacted team against a good opposition. You've got a manager who can't break down a low block, and we don't have the players to break down low blocks, because the honest truth is, if we're being really honest, our team is full of mediocre players. We've got a manager who says yes to stupid shit signings. Excuse my language.
He's not the only manager, though. That's going to be my answer.
Hold on a minute. The last two managers before that, Marlon, said it how it was. Okay, Conte said.
Yeah, but they didn't say how it was until they left.
Yeah, but I would. No.
Mourinho Mourinho accepted Joe Rodon. Mourinho accepted it.
Players. Mourinho wanted specific players, and you can see.
But he didn't say it until he left.
He didn't. No. He said it on the documentary.
No, he didn't. He didn't. Okay. He said. I remember him saying when Joe Rodon and all that signed, he was happy with the squad.
What about Conte after Southampton?
But Conte again wasn't until the end.
Marlon, he came in to win a trophy. He got us to a final. Of course, he was happy.
They all alluded to the board, Marlon. Okay, they all alluded to the board. They didn't say specific names.
Marlon's got me rattled, you know. Marlon's rattled.
Don't let him rattle you. Don't let him rattle you. This is what he does. Don't worry.
I need views.
Leave this one to me. When you've got a manager, like you said, who is a yes manager, and is accepting the players and the transfer window that we have, these are the big issues. So Ange is the problem. We know Enoch is the problem. It's always been Enoch. But the honest truth is, what happened on Sunday, I'm really, really sorry, is massively on the manager. He couldn't adapt. Maresca, from the second half, changed formation twice, by the way. He added Caicedo in. He put Gustavo because Son was having a lovely time at left wing. Okay, he adapted twice. He started off with three at the back in the second half. He then changed it to a 4-2-4. Okay, he adapted in that game the way he needed.
I do agree with you on that part.
A minute. We've got a manager who sits there, who folds his arms, who has bought, like Stel has said, he paid £40 million for a CDM, who's actually a right back, if we're being honest, because he's not strong enough to be a CDM. And then what he's doing, he's not putting him in the correct positions. So therefore, he's playing silly buggers with some absolute mediocre players. We've also got players in there that are not good enough, that haven't been good enough. That I spoke to a few of the boys in the gym today, and they accept mediocre players like, I'm really sorry, Basuma. I might get pelters for this one. Pat Matassar. I'm sorry, they're bang average players that they shouldn't be in that midfield. Okay, we're missing Bentancur massively. The problem is, Marlon, you've either got to have a very good midfield or you've got to have a very good forward line. Under Ange's system, you've got to have both. I don't think people understand. When the midfield is gone, it's easy to bypass the midfield and move into our centre-backs. It's so easy. The transitional play from box to box is impossible because we don't have a number 8. We don't have a midfielder who's going to drag the ball. Pat Matasar does not do it. He's got no technical ability. Although everyone tells me he runs a lot, he does nothing else. He just runs. If I want a runner, I'll go and get Usain Bolt. The fact of the matter is, he does nothing else apart from that. When you look at Basuma, the guy's completely brain dead. And I wanted him gone in the summer, by the way, after all that balloon crap that he was doing. Okay, he's not a professional, right? We needed midfielders in the summer. Then we go to our wide players. If your wide players don't work under Ange Postecoglou, the system is broken. I don't think people understand. So all this inverted wing backs and stuff is all nonsense because the fact of the matter is you need to have a solid midfield defensively, and going forward, you need to have really, really good wide players. At City, he adapted. I agree with Stel. He went, and our wide players looked unbelievable, and there's so much space down the left and the right hand side. You even see Werner exposing that space down the left and right hand side. Why? Because he adapted it. Against Chelsea, he sat on the sideline and he folded his arms. He refused to bring on certain players like Maddison. We were getting slapped from minute 46. We were getting slapped. We couldn't get the ball. Reason being is because he brought Caicedo into the midfield. He dropped Palmer into a number 10, and he also dropped Jadon into a number 10, and people didn't even see it.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see it. And then Neto went really, really wide. So the fact of the matter is they had a 4-man midfield to our 2-man midfield because Kulusevski was playing, to be fair to him, he's trying to play high up the pitch. The fact of the matter is the manager's not good enough. We know this. But when we look at the signings we've made in the summer, it was always a recipe for disaster. Always. The signings were atrocious. I said it in the group. I'm really sorry. I said it was a 4 out of 10 window. You lot were telling me it was an 8 out of 10 window. It was trash.
Actually, there was only 2 people in the group saying it was out of 10, and we killed them for it.
Who are they? Name them. Name them.
The thing is as well, sorry, Stel, can I say, the thing is with this manager as well, which makes it even worse, which tells me that he's still, that actually even worse that he's not, even more reason for him not to be the man at the club, is the fact that he's trying to bring in squad players when we don't have a first 11. How are you trying to improve squad players when your first 11, in terms of your midfield and your forward line, is trash? And also, he's coming out and saying that he chased Solanke, they're his signings. Are we really going to blame other people apart from him when he comes out and says that? And if he's lying to us and telling us that if they are all his signings, then I agree with Stel, he's got to go even more. Because
but the next manager's going to say exactly the same thing, though.
Why? Conte
has to go as well.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Conte did.
So Conte did. No. When we bought Spence, what did Conte say? Conte said he's a signing.
He was the only one.
No, he said he's the signing for the club.
Only one.
He never said he was my signing.
Andy, what about
Spence?
Langley, Richarlison,
all of them.
Emerson?
He never put his name to those signings. Look at it back.
Did.
He never did. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. From the transfer window, from the time when Paratici came in, he wanted specific players. Okay, this transfer window, we wanted Eze. We knew we wanted Eze. Everyone knew we wanted Eze. Eze wanted to come to Tottenham. Why did we not get him? Because of obviously the structure, the way of the
wages,
the buy clause. No, the wages wasn't an issue. It was the £58 million buy clause that was an issue. Okay,
someone said it was the wages. The buyout clause wasn't the issue. It was the wages.
It was the issue. The buyout clause, paying it up front, was the issue. We then, a week later, go and get Odebear, which we put down 10 million and pay the rest in instalments. We would not pay £58 million up front, which was the buyout clause from Crystal Palace. The fact of the matter is, he came out and said, "Oh yeah, Archie Gray, yeah, he's my man. Yeah, he's going to be a brilliant player for the future." Forget about the future. We ain't got a number 11. We ain't got a 1 to 11. They're trash. They're average players. Would they really get into any top 6 team? A lot of these players, they wouldn't. Basuma wouldn't. Sarr wouldn't. Johnson wouldn't. Werner wouldn't. At the moment, the way Son's playing, he wouldn't either. Solanke definitely wouldn't. So I mean, I'm not being funny, but a lot of these signings are coming from him. He bought Werner. He bought Johnson. He bought Solanke.
I don't think that's 100%.
Hold on. Look,
I don't think it's 100% they're his signings. Like
nobody knows.
Marlon,
the truth is, none of us know, guys. None of us know.
Solanke, I'll give you because he plays him.
He said he was chasing Solanke all summer.
Yeah, but I said I'll give you Solanke because he plays him. But the rest of them, Archie Gray, he barely plays. Anytime he gets a chance to play him or bring him on, he never plays him.
Who pays £40 million for a guy who plays right back, who hasn't got a known position, who plays in the Europa League? Who pays 40 million quid?
Johan Lange and Spurs.
No. Do you know why we paid £40 million for him?
Because his wages are low.
No, yeah, that as well. But the reason I paid £40 million for him is because it was in instalments. That's the only reason why. And the manager's coming out saying, yeah, we've had a great window. They're all the
And
players.
we sent Rodon the other way. We gave them Rodon as part of the deal.
Yeah, the 10 million for Rodon as well. What I'm saying is he's a yes man and he's tactically inept.
But
he
but he's not. Yeah, but, go on, Deji. Deji, before you come in, the question was originally, this is how we got to this, was what would you have done differently versus Chelsea? And obviously the bench and everything came up. So go on. And thank you to We Are Spurs TV.
What would we have done differently? I think for me, I'll quickly answer that and then I want to go back to
Yeah.
kind of some of the points that Andrew was making. 2-0 up. You know that Romero has just come back from injury. Van de Ven. I mean, we were all surprised when we saw them, when we saw the team lineup. We were happy, but we were surprised. 2-0 up, you're probably biting your finger, your lucky day. I would have just told the boys, sit back for this day, because what we don't want and what we can't afford is for you to get injured. Sit back, stink out the place. I couldn't see that Chelsea team breaking down Spurs. I'm quite happy for them to be taking shots from distance or trying to go down the wing. Sancho, I don't really rate Sancho. That was his bloody best performance for Chelsea this season against us, by the way. Stink out the place, get a win, job done.
Sorry. You know why it was his best performance? I'm on row one, right where he had 15 yards every single time. There was nobody even close to him. They were meant to be compact. The midfield, all three of the midfield are completely all over the gaff. You've got the four tight, and they're not even shuffling over. You've got Jadon Sancho over the left-hand side. He's got about 20 yards of space. That's the reason why. He picked up the ball. He's taken 7 touches before he's got to a player. 7 touches. It's embarrassing.
It's a disgrace.
At the end of the day, the defence, they're not being taught the correct way to shuffle over, stay into a low block. I agree with you. At 2-0, stay into a low block, stay compact, okay, shuffle over, and they don't break us down. You get to half-time at 2-0, it's a completely different ball game. We came out in the second half, it was even more open than it was in the first half.
It's madness. And then the other thing I wanted to say, I was speaking to a friend of mine today who's a Leeds fan, and he vouches for Archie Gray and even reckons that Spurs are looking at his brother Harry Gray as well. But then it made me think that part of the issue has been with Spurs is we had no succession plan. I've been banging on for the last 2 years or 3 years. Who is our replacement to Kane? Who is our replacement to Son? You need those replacements in before they leave, and then you hand over the baton. That's how it goes. We let Kane leave before bringing in a replacement, and we still don't have a replacement for Son. Do you get what I'm saying? So Archie Gray, Bergvall, I'm prepared to accept that maybe they're one for the future, but they're not one for now. You can't bring them in now and expect them to hit the ground running. No, you kind of bleed them in. Maybe so that by 2 years down the line from now, 3 years down the line from now, they're ready to cook and go. Which meant that in the summer we should have bought players that were ready. Do you get what I'm saying? So no succession plan is part of the problem. Postecoglou, I agree, is an issue for me. I think Carragher got it right. This idea that you got to wear t-shirt and shorts even through Storm Dara is bloody ridiculous. And I'm looking at Brighton, I'm looking at Fulham, I'm looking at Bournemouth, I'm looking at Nottingham Forest, and I'm looking at their starting 11, and I'm thinking, they're better than us. I would take 4 of Bournemouth's players. 4. If you're taking 4 players from Bournemouth, you've got problem. Kirkes is a direct competition for Udogie, who got doggied by Minty Breath and hasn't been the same since. I would take Semenyo over Brennan Johnson all day, every day. Alex Scott can do a job in our midfield. Even Nilsson can do a job since Richarlison is injury prone, and then you can see our problems. Then we've got Robertson. What I can't understand from Spurs, and I need you guys to help me out here, we could build a formidable team by just cherry picking some of the best players from the clubs, the so-called minnows. And why don't we do that? Why don't we get Robinson? Why don't we get Anderson? Why don't we bring in a Lacroix? Why don't we bring in an Alex Scott? That's the bit I'm not understanding. And they don't cost a lot of money. They don't cost a lot. So, yeah, no, Postecoglou, with the tools that he's been given, I actually said this just on George's show. I think Poch does a better job with this squad. Like legitimately,
So,
I
so
really.
Deji, after all that, it's the manager. For you to say that, then it's the manager.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
so my question to you,
Above leaving,
so my question to everyone, yeah, right. So if it's the manager, where would you realistically think we should be right now, considering that summer transfer window we had, and considering he re-signed Werner twice?
fifth. We should be fifth or sixth. The reason why I say this,
Matter.
if Postecoglou could manage a game, let's just take this out because people keep telling me there's if buts and buts. There's no if buts and buts. 2-0 up against Brighton at half time, you should win.
Of
Yes?
course. Of course.
Right. We should be able at home to beat Ipswich at least 1-0.
Correct.
Well, there you go.
So, hey, look, and that, as I told you on your show, right? For me, before the season, I said, I don't care about the league finish. I want us to do well in a cup. As of now, for the first time in a while, we're live in all three cups. So I'm going to judge Ange based on that at the end of the year. But just going back to what was said, look, an average lifespan of a manager in the league is 2 years. With Spurs, it's 18 months. You cannot convince me that any manager for a top 10 team or a top 10 club would want to spend 70 million pounds or euros on 3 kids. Because you know what? Those kids will start playing after the manager is sacked. So you cannot convince me that Ange, who said, I want to challenge and I win in my second year, all of a sudden, instead of saying, you know what, we don't have a left back, we don't have a center back, we have Johnson, we have Timo, spend all that money. Because we heard he wanted Eze, he wanted Gallagher, right? He wanted Nato. Even if we could not get those players, the profiles of who Ange wanted were clear. And what did we do? I don't have anything against the kids. Get the kids, that's cool. But we needed the players. So you cannot convince me that Ange, just like Jose, just like Conte, who wanted Bastoni and got Langley and got Richarlison, and Jose wanted Skriniar and got Roden and Emerson and Jetson Fernandez. We have seen this happen for decades. So you cannot convince me that Ange wants to sign kids who will start playing when he'll be sacked. When we don't have cover left back, center back, right wing, it doesn't make sense to me.
Can
So
I
again,
reply to this? Can I reply to this? Right.
go Stan.
Eugene, you say you're going to wait for us to win cups. Fans aren't kicking off, and it's not going into meltdown because of the cups. It's the league position that's rattled everyone. Right? We're still in the cups, so
Right,
fans
exactly.
can't moan.
Yeah.
Right.
So still, can I ask a question there? Can I ask a quick question on that? Because a lot of
Yeah.
us, and I'm included in this, why I actually am going to wait till January, have
Mhm.
said, yeah, I don't care where we finish in the league as long as
Yeah.
we win a cup.
Marlon,
Yeah.
you're part of the problem then.
Right,
You
I am.
hold on. Right,
Go on.
Marlon, 1 minute.
Yeah, go on.
Let me do this one, right? I agree with you. However, Ange won't be here for those cup games if we keep dipping in the table. Because Levy don't care about the trophies. Levy cares about league position because that's where the money is.
Okay, yeah.
Now, if he keeps tumbling down the table, he's gone because the fans are going to flip. The fans are flipping at the league position.
They're not going to get
still,
rid of him. Because I tell you what, the board absolutely love him as a yes man. They're not going to get rid of him. They've come out and today and they've given him confidence, saying that there's no chance that he's going to be sacked.
Andrew, how many
I
times
just
do we hear
something.
the manager gets that
understand.
dreaded vote of confidence? Then
Listen.
if he gets beat at Southampton, battered against Liverpool, I put money now he's gone.
Yeah,
They're
he's
not
gone.
going to keep him.
He's
He's
gone.
gone.
What about if he beats
No,
United?
but I'll
though, in
no,
between?
hold on. Before we move on, Marlon.
Not here for
Before we
trophy.
move on, I need to hear from the panel. Andrew and Stell, I need to get. Are
Go
you also cup at all costs? Because for me, I wouldn't accept 10th and a Carabao Cup.
Listen, I'll tell you where I am. Very, very simple. The league's gone.
We're not going to win the league, Deji. We're not going to win the league. So
Yeah,
just
so
take
what's the point?
Hold it. The league is gone. You can't lose those amount of games and to the teams that we've lost to this part of the season and start looking at top four. Top four's gone. Forget that's all out the window. That's fairy tale. So when we look at, if you want my honest opinion, what I would do, it would be from January onwards, okay, I'd be going all out for that Europa League. It gets us into the Champions League. It's the easiest way to get us into the Champions League. No disrespect. I know that we all want a trophy, but the League Cup doesn't outweigh the Europa League. So therefore, I'd be looking at the Euro. I'd be looking at everything for the Europa League. I'd be
You're a
looking
Spurs fan. You don't get to choose, Andrew. You
I
don't
know,
get to
I know. I'd be looking at getting a few players in January that are not cup tied for that Europa League, and I genuinely, I'm not joking. I'd be looking at resting players in that Premier League. And you know what? If Levy's got something to say, what you could just say to him is, well, you didn't get me the players in the summer that I really, really wanted. Or maybe you did get me the players in the summer that I really wanted, but I couldn't do anything with them. So therefore, the easiest route to get success from where we all want, okay, which is a trophy, is Europa League. The reason why I'm saying that is because I don't believe the teams in the Europa League are anywhere near some of the teams in the Premier League.
We're
Okay?
4 games away from
We're the strongest team in the Europa League.
If you go for that Europa League, you are hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. It is as simple as that. The Premier League is way, way, way too difficult to even be looking at top 4, top 6. We should have got top 4 last year, by the way. We threw it away. So you see how hard it is with this current team. Okay, we ain't getting top 4. So top 4 is gone. So why would we not just put all of our eggs in one basket, go for the Europa League, and then
I agree with you, Andrew. I agree with you, but we are not going to keep this manager if he keeps going down that league table. They're not going to keep him. There's no chance in hell.
Still, I actually disagree. This board absolutely love him. They love him. Love him. I'm telling you, they're giving him.
There's a protest on the 22nd
of the end of the season. I'm telling you.
Liverpool, right? There's a protest. There's going to be more protests. It's going to get toxic in that stadium. If we lose to Liverpool, lose to Southampton, that Wolves game is going to be Levy out chance in that stadium. He's not keeping him. There's no way.
No, the only thing is, I do agree with Andrew.
100% there'll be Levy out chance, but I think that this guy.
And that's when Levy pulls the trigger, Andrew.
Right now, Levy is thinking one thing. Number one, if I get rid of him, there's no one else better right now. If you tell me a manager that's better right now, that's going to come in mid-season with this pile of shit that's going to do any better, it's probably one of the reasons why I wouldn't sack him right now. And Marlon knows I'm not Postecoglou in. I think he's tactically inept. I don't think he's the right manager for us. That's my opinion. But what I will say is, 14 managers in 23 years. A lot of those. Some of
got sacked for league position
have been good enough. This one, I don't think is good enough. But I'm actually afraid that if we do get rid of this manager, he'll go for Ryan Mason to the end of the season. If that happens, the whole thing's finished. Finished.
And they will bring in a manager. They will pay someone. It won't be elite. It'll be like the guy from Ipswich, McKenna, or they'll try and prize Areola from.
There's a couple of things. I have to go in.
Yeah, go on, Ditch.
The thing is, for the Spurs fans at the beginning of the season, they all shook their bum violently and said, "You know what? I don't mind where we finish and the cup.
Correct.
Hold on, because it's you. You guys said it doesn't matter. So you can't now start making up noise when you're not happy with the league position."
Correct.
The truth is, he's doing.
I said Levy ain't happy with the league position.
No. Levy is not happy because we're after him and we're looking at what we're saying. But Levy knows. Now the thing is, technically, Postecoglou is doing better than last season if you think we're still in the cups. And he can hold on to that. And my thing, and what I was saying is, I don't think the Carabao Cup alone would be enough. But I think if he was to somehow do the miracle of miracles and win the FA Cup along with it, or the Europa, then he keeps his job. Because 100%. He's done what is required. He's won trophies and he's got a little bit of ounce of respect back to the fan base. And then I think the fan base appeased themselves. I think Postecoglou put himself in this position.
100%.
Had he managed those games a bit better, had some of those defeats been draws, we don't even have this conversation. We don't have this conversation. So it's not a total disaster, but it is a disaster because of his mismanagement. I agree with Stel. I actually predicted on my show last week, the next 4 games, that we wouldn't pick up any points.
Look, Stel, on your channel and many other channels for 2 years, 3 years now that I've been watching, everybody said we want to win a trophy, right? Exactly. We want a trophy.
Yeah.
What Levy does, I'm hoping after he sacked Jose, I'm hoping he's not going to do the same mistake again right before the cup final. he probably will
Yeah,
when
he
the
won't.
fans turn toxic. But I know that most of the fans, at least on YouTube, on social media, they want a trophy. I personally, I do not want to see us in Champions League because we're going to get smoked. It's going to be embarrassing. Last year, I said I'd rather be in Europa because that's our competition. Deji, imagine if we were in Champions League this year, it would be embarrassing. We
Could
do
You
I
know
have
ask,
the
what?
players.
I would have hoped that we would have had better. Sorry, Eugene. I would have hoped that we would have brought in better players.
But we
Simply,
never do. When we're in
but
Champions League,
yeah, we
last
never,
time we didn't bring anybody in.
yeah,
can,
fair.
can I ask,
So
can
that's
I
the
ask
problem,
you a
right?
question?
If Champions League guaranteed us, okay, we make Champions League, now we're going to bring in elite players, agree 1,000%. But
Yeah, but
last
the
time we did,
difference,
we'll never bring him in.
but the difference between me and what I'm hearing here is, you think Ange is going to win these cups? I don't. I think the
don't-
football we play is absolute gash.
I
The
agree.
way we're open up, if we get to a final or a semi, we will come up against a top English side, and they will take us to task. In Europe, there's teams in this competition: Bilbao, Lazio, possibly Ajax. The way they play, the managers they've got, we will play one of these teams, and that manager will say, right, I get how Tottenham plays. I know what they're going to do. And when we least expect it, bang, they're going to hit us with something that we weren't ready for. And will stand there, hands in his pockets, not sure what to do.
Correct.
And we'll crash out of a game that we dominated, thinking, how did we just lose that? And it's because of him. I don't believe Ange can navigate to a European Cup final because he's never done anything good in Europe.
But if he loses, then sack him. But as of now, I wouldn't
Or
say
sack him now and put a manager in now that can adapt and use the team he's got to win it. Because I think we can
Okay,
win the
still,
competition.
but
Would
the
you guys-
question
would you
is,
guys swap his
still,
it's not a guarantee.
right now.
I think we can win the Europa Cup with a different
Would
manager.
you, Stell, would you
but
swap
who's the manager?
him
The
now?
Spurs-
If I told you could have Marco Silva right now, would you swap him?
Yes.
I've been calling Marco Silva for
Yes.
years.
But,
Anyway.
okay,
And
boys,
Ariola. And
boys,
Ariola. I'll
boys,
take
I
you.
think, boys, the
Can I
manager
just say
you're
one
playing-
thing though, Marlon?
Yeah, go on.
Sorry,
Yeah.
go slightly left on Stell. I do agree with what Stell is saying. The only thing I will say, and this is the difference between the cup and the league, you only need that day to go well for you.
Right.
And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're in the semis, and then all of a sudden you're in the final. Now we have seen this season that
It can
when
go well.
Spurs turn up, we bloody turn up.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, we've only got 3 more games for the Carabao, for an example, because the League One we know is win one, lose one, win one, lose one. We know that, but there's nothing to stop Postecoglou from doing exactly what he said, which is I win something in my
It's in my
second.
second season.
That's his aim.
He ain't
That's
got
his
the team. He ain't got the team.
And forget the tactics, right? We know our players, they turn up in some big games, like Madison and whoever, right? When it's a big game, they usually turn up. So, and in cups, as that you said, a lot of it is
They
luck.
also
A
go
lot of it.
Eugene.
I
So our day, we can
I
do
disagree. They don't turn up. They don't turn up in big games. They turn
Villa,
up.
City, Man
They
U.
turn up when there's no pressure on them. When we are
Brighton,
when we're
Chelsea.
losing. Yeah, they
Yeah,
don't
but those
turn
are-
up
Arsenal,
in big
Arsenal.
games because Ipswich at home losing that is a joke. I'm sorry. Fulham at home
I
drawing
agree,
that.
but it's not a big game. That's why they lost.
Bournemouth away is
Arsenal's a
joke.
big game.
Every
Newcastle was a
time-
big game.
time there's-
Chelsea was a big game. We didn't turn up in those games.
Yo, every time there's
Everyone
Everyone
was
Monday.
this team
We lost.
this team
They
folds.
weren't Saturday still.
So they don't turn up when it's big games.
They
They
went
turn
for
up
BTM.
for better teams. They don't turn up for big games. We should have beaten Newcastle away as well. Should have been 4-0 up at half time. Arsenal was a big game as well. We don't turn up for big games. We turn up when there's no pressure on Tottenham. That's when we turn up. When there's
Sure.
pressure on Tottenham and you've got to go away to Crystal Palace, they ain't got to win. And it's like, well, you guys should walk this one, lose. Bournemouth away, lose on a Thursday night. Fulham at home, lose. Ipswich at home, lose. Those are the games that they're not turning up for. So it's not the big games we're turning up for. It's the games there's no pressure. That's the ones we're turning up for.
But there was pressure for the Chelsea game. We didn't turn up. I think, guys, I just think it's random. You don't know what you're going to get. Pressure, no pressure.
But
big
that-
games,
but that-
big-
But that's
You don't
what
know what
that's
we're
what
gonna
but that's what Deji's saying though. That's because we just don't know what we're gonna get. You could end up having a cup run because you just don't know what you're gonna get with Spurs, and they could just turn up in the cup games, and we literally wouldn't
yeah,
know.
or he's right, but we could also get Crystal Palace in the semis and get knocked out.
Yeah,
This is the
knowing Spurs, yes. The
would.
way the season's
would.
gone,
100%.
completely. But my question was going to be, right, because this is where I'm kind of going. You're all talking about a different manager will come in, but you're trusting someone, a club, that doesn't really bring in decent managers and have gone backwards and backwards with managers and gone through merry-go-round managers, and Postecoglou weren't even first choice, and you're asking them to bring someone in mid-season and pay for someone. That's not going to happen. If you lot are being realistic about what
it should happen, though. This is what we're
but
saying.
it's not going to happen.
I
So
agree.
my question to you guys is, right? Yes, it's okay that you want Ange out, right? But the managers you're naming are all at clubs and are mid-season. Spurs are not going to pay, right? Unless you're going to convince me otherwise. Spurs are not going to pay.
Marco Silva straight away. They'll 100% buy his contract out. £6 million for Marco Silva.
They won't do it.
But
They won't
Andy,
do it.
look at Man U, right? Look at Man U.
I personally think Postecoglou gets to the end of the season, and then I think they part ways. I don't think we win anything this year. I think the transfer window's killed our team and our whole season. Premier League's done. We're literally looking at Europa League and League Cup. If he doesn't win any of those, I think they give him to the end of the season, maybe a couple of games before, and they let him go. Personally, with this season, you can still save, in my opinion. I think if this chairman is as any bollocks at all, he would make the decision if you can get a manager like Marco Silva. If you can't, no problem at all. Because I'm not accepting no Gareth Southgate. I know there was one funny comment.
Hell no. Hell no.
There was one funny comment that says,
"Bro, if we start shouting Levy out, he's going to give us Southgate as a present."
Yeah, that's the thing. But
Then I'm flipping cars upside down on the high road.
I will say this, sorry, gentlemen.
Go on. Before you have to go.
I will say this. I can see Spurs finishing as low as 14th or 13th. And as long as he wins the Carabao Cup, he keeps his job.
Would you want him to stay?
I wouldn't want him to stay. No, that is way beneath my standards. But based on the fan base, based on the rhetoric that I hear on a weekly basis, I don't mind where we finish as long as we win a trophy. Well, 13th and the Carabao Cup. I hope you're happy with that, Spurs fan. And I can see him doing that.
So look, Andy, I agree with you, but look at Man U, right? They brought in Emerim. He lost 2 games. They still look shocking.
That's the manager, by the way, that we should have had.
But it's going to take him a while to build his squad and start winning, right? So if we bring in a manager mid-season right now, it's going to take at least 1 or 2 transfer windows. It's going to take him time to implement a new system. So the cups are gone.
No, it doesn't.
A new manager,
no, it doesn't. We saw a different system at Man City. It took 1 week to prepare for that. A manager comes in and says, right, I'm not inverting the fullbacks. You're going to play like overlapping fullbacks. That's what we signed you for. We're not going to play with a high line. We're going to play a little bit deeper. Right. He's going to change the basics. And do you know what? We're not a bad side. We're not a bad team. But this freaking kamikaze, everyone up. Everyone up. Yeah. Play out from the back. You're losing by a goal. Let's tiki-taka from the back in the 90th minute.
Still, the only reason why I would make the change is because actually I only think there's about 4 or 5 good teams in the whole Europa League. I'm going to be really honest. And it's not beyond Tottenham's reach to actually do something. But the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. And nothing going to change. I'm really, really sorry, but it's not going to change.
As a Greek man, I can say this, right? I'm allowed to say it because I'm Greek, right? Because Ange's Greek here. He's a fucking lunatic, man. He's an absolute madman in his head, the way he sees football. The way he sees football, he's nuts.
I never wanted the Greek in charge, by the way. I never wanted the Greek guy in charge. Ever. I told you that at the start of the season.
If he could just teach this team to be defensive in phases of a game, just a bit pragmatic once in a while. Go Conte for 20 minutes. Go Mourinho for 15 minutes.
He don't have to do it.
Then Deji's right. We hold on to a 2-0 lead against Brighton.
I agree.
Maybe we don't lose to Chelsea.
Impossible.
He puts us in these ridiculous situations where it's literally, it's like, what's that thing at the casino where you just put all your chips on one number and hope the ball drops on the roulette? It's like playing roulette, man. It's like, you're crazy, man. You've got all these chips of money. Hold your chips. Hold those chips. You walk out the casino with cash. He's like, no. We're putting it all on number 6. Bro, you just lost all the money you made in the last 5 hours in the casino. That's what kind of manager he is.
So, how many of our players get into a top 6 side?
Later on, Dej.
Thank you, guys. So sorry I couldn't stay longer.
See you later.
Pick up that. Still, how many of our players get into another top 6 side?
All of them because they finished 5th last season.
Right now, just take a bit.
All of them.
Liverpool, Arsenal.
All of them are a top six level, except for Werner. All of them.
Johnson, Bissouma,
Yes.
Madison.
Johnson's got one of the best GAs in the league, and I don't like him. But I can't hide from the goals he scored. I can't hide from it. I can't.
Does he get into a top 6 side? No, he doesn't. Madison doesn't. Bissouma doesn't.
Yes, he does. Because Spurs. No, hold on. Spurs is a top 6 side. We are a top 6 side, Eugene. But we're not performing to that level because of this manager.
Why do you say we're a top 6 side? Like, based on what? I'm not talking about like the revenue and the money.
Based on the tactics not being so kamikaze that this manager set us up to be.
But I'm looking.
Do I think these players can win the league? No. Do I think they can challenge for the league? Absolutely not. Do I think they're a top 6 side? 100%.
But look, what Andy said, when Andy said in the Newcastle game, we could have scored 4 goals in the first 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
The players, like, I agree with Ange's tactics, but in a lot of games, I see he puts players in good positions. They just cannot execute. Just in Newcastle game, we don't have the quality up front to put the goals away.
Still,
which is an issue.
We do have the quality.
No, we don't.
We've scored the most goals in the league. We've scored the second most goals in the league.
But you know why, still? Everton, Villa, Man U. That's the bulk of our goals in 3 games.
Eugene, who's second in the league? Chelsea, yeah? How many goals did we score against Chelsea? The second best team in the country. Thank you. We can execute. We can't defend. We can't. You're not going to win every game 4-5-0. You're going to win sometimes by 1 goal or 2 goals. Defend. He doesn't defend. His tactics cost us games, man. He costs us.
I agree with you, Sal. I agree with you, but
you can't say that when we can't break down lesser teams. You can't say that we have. I usually agree with most things you say. But
Andrew, who can't we break down?
You said earlier on that we have our attacking players are quality. They're not quality. I'm really sorry.
I never said they're quality. I said our attacking play. I said our attacking play. Ange has actually delivered a very good attacking side.
The players individually are not good enough. They are not.
Leicester, Newcastle, all those games with a low block, we cannot score 2 goals
against Newcastle. We had 2 4-on-2s and we couldn't score 2.
Right. We're picking 1 game out of 14. No, we're not going to be good in every game, attacking wise. We're not. Hold on. No, I can argue this. This is an easy argument.
Go on.
We don't need to have amazing attackers and amazing midfielders to have a good system that works. Our attacking system, in most games, it works very, very well.
They're not
defensively, our system is absolutely broken.
I agree. I agree.
So I don't
disagree with that. You said our front line is quality.
I never said the front line is quality. I slag off Solanke, I slag off Johnson, I slag off Werner. I've never said they're quality.
All of them are not good enough. They can't put the ball in the back of the net.
No, Andrew, you're making things up. Hold on. I never said that. You're saying things I never said, though. I never said that. I said attacking-wise. Attacking-wise.
The comments. I thought you said
You're saying things I never said. I said attacking-wise, we are quality. The way we attack is quality. That's why we've got the amount of goals we've scored.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why we've scored the amount of goals we've scored.
You're saying the individual players are not, but you're saying the system attacking wise is quality. Is that what you're saying?
But
yeah, that's why we scored all these goals. We're actually very
Look, we couldn't score against. We couldn't get the win against all the lesser teams like Ipswich, Bournemouth, Fulham, Leicester. We couldn't finish our chances against Newcastle, Crystal Palace away.
Arsenal. Yeah. Could I just jump in on that?
If we could defend, go on, Marlon. But if we could defend, we're not losing those games.
But what Stel was trying to say, I know what you guys are coming. I know what you guys.
We couldn't score against Bournemouth.
Yeah, but I know what you guys are saying. But what Stel was saying is our attacking play is good.
That's 1 game.
But we're missing chances.
We couldn't beat Ipswich at home. We couldn't score against Palace.
Hold on. Did we score against Ipswich? Did we score against Ipswich?
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the point I'm making. We had chances, but we can't put them away. That's the
Andrew, hold on. Did we score against Ipswich? Yes. Could we defend against Ipswich? No. That's the point I'm making. We put the ball in the net, but you let 2 in the other side. So clearly, defensively, you're inept.
But 1 goal is not enough, Stel. Look, if you look at our goals scored, we scored...
Arsenal beat Man United 2-0.
Hold on,
Arsenal beat Man United 2-0.
Stel,
a couple of goals, 1 goal, you win a game.
Let me finish. We scored 4 against Everton, 3 against United, 4 against City and Villa. Other than those games, we could barely score 2 goals against
We scored 2 against Brighton.
lower teams.
2 goals, 1
Scored
goal.
2 against Brighton.
Or even 1 goal. We cannot score
We
against
couldn't
low
score
block.
against Bournemouth. We couldn't score
And we
against
can't
Palace.
defend against lower teams. We can't defend against them either, guys.
Listen, we know we're trash at defending at certain times because the system is broken.
And that's my point. Andrew, that's my point.
This is why I came back to earlier saying you've either got to have a really good midfield, and that includes the number 6, or you've got to have good wide players. If you don't have one or the other, the system's broken. Yes, I agree. We need to concede less goals. But when you look at the lesser teams, no disrespect to them, we can't score against certain teams like Bournemouth and Palace, and we're giving them 3 points all over the place. We can't score more than 1 goal at home to Ipswich. How is
Okay,
that?
when you watch that Bournemouth game, right? When you watch that Bournemouth game, what was everyone talking about? The amount of chances Spurs missed, or the amount of chances we gave Bournemouth defensively?
We should have lost 5-0 defensively. Yeah, I agree.
Right,
In that game.
Andrew,
one
that's
game.
my point.
I
That's my
understand,
point.
but that's not good enough.
Defensively, Bournemouth beat us by 1 goal, right? We can't defend, man. Like I'm not saying Spurs are a brilliant attack. I'm not saying we are sensationally amazing, the best. What I'm saying is, when you look at Spurs, would you fix the attack or the defense? What I'm trying to say is, fix the defense, and you know what? That's another 8-9 points in the bag. Fix the defense. That's what I'm trying to say.
I have to disagree.
I disagree to start.
But
Look,
you can't, because we scored 3 at home and we lost. You score 3 goals at home and you lose.
Look, at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, even for example against the Bournemouth in the Bournemouth game, how many open clear-cut chances would we have? Hardly any. Why? Because our wide players don't do the job correctly.
How many open clear-cut chances did we give away?
And by the way, again, I'll come back to the fact that our midfield is not good enough to go box to box, which is another reason why we couldn't get through the other side of the pitch, because they were just pounding us because we've got no midfield. Our midfield is absolutely toothless without Bentancur. So if you don't have a midfield or wide players working, that's going to happen against Bournemouth still. What I'm saying is we don't have any quality in our midfield, in that central midfield, apart from Kulusevski, okay, or on our wide players, okay, to really attack the flanks like we did against City. The only reason why we won against City is because they gave us 15, 20 yards each flank, by the way. Okay, other teams, the lesser teams, don't give us that.
Why did we batter Aston Villa?
We have to have.
Why did we batter Aston Villa?
Because Aston Villa opened the whole. They opened the whole game up. Aston Villa. They didn't sit back. Aston Villa. They opened up the whole game and they got dealt with. So at the end of the day, it's
How
the
did we score 3 goals against Brighton?
the smaller teams that.
How did we score 3 goals against Brighton? How did we score 2 goals against Brighton?
We were
open
exceptional
the floor.
in that first half. We were exceptional, and then we were
Exceptional at what?
Our football, our attacking play, everything. Our passing,
Attacking, yeah. Attacking.
Yeah,
Attacking, yeah.
Okay, but you can have a good 45 minutes. What does that mean? And it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean.
Then you could have a bad 45 minutes.
You know,
Look,
and that's exactly what happened. But the problem is we've had too many bad 90 minutes. That's the problem.
Andrew, we can agree to disagree. But
Yeah.
if you look at Spurs and you were to say fix the attack or fix the defense, what should be the priority? I think 9 out of 10 fans will say fix the defense. In fact, run a poll. Have you got the thing? Can you run a poll on this channel? Run
Yes.
a poll and see what the fans say. Run a poll.
Yeah.
Say, what would you fix right now? Better attack or better defense? I bet you most fans say fix the defense, because I think Ange is awful in terms of his defensive approach.
I'm agreeing with you. But what I'm not.
You just argued with me for 20 minutes.
no.
man.
Wait.
You just argued with me.
I agree.
No.
And
You're
I agree on this.
saying our attacking play is quality. It's not quality. It's toothless. So I don't know where this good
No,
attacking
it's not
play.
toothless.
Yeah,
You can't be
only
the second
time-
top scoring team and be toothless.
Okay. We're top scorers in, let's say, 4 or 5 games that we've done really, really well. That, by the way, we've over excelled in, and then against the shit teams, we can't score a goal.
Can we improve the attack? Yes. Does the defense need surgery in terms of tactics and one-on-one defending?
1
Yes.
million %. Okay, so what would you do in terms of the defence?
I'd stop inverting the fullbacks. I'd
Okay.
stop playing a high line, and I'd stop playing out from the back at every opportunity, especially if certain players aren't on the pitch. If I know I've got Ben Davies at the back, if I know I've got Dragusin at the back, and I've got Foster in goal, I would not play up from the back, because all of them are prone to massive errors. In fact, Romero, he even slows it down when he gets the ball at the back.
I agree.
The only ones I feel comfortable with at the back are probably Van der Ven,
And Porro.
Basuma when he drops in on the half turn, Bentancur and Maddison dropping in definitely. Out wide, Porro and Udogie I think are okay. But when we change that, and suddenly you've got Archie Gray at right back, you've got Dragusin and Davies in the middle, you've got, I don't know, Pape Sarr in that 6 and Foster in goal, I'm worried.
I'm sorry.
I'm worried. I don't think they're good enough to play out from the back. Some of our players can, some can't.
The thing is, I agree with what you're saying, but we're not conceding from high press attacks. We're not conceding from that. We're not conceding from playing out from the back. We've conceded probably two goals this whole season by playing out from the back. We're not. The problem is we don't have midfielders to go box to box. We don't have midfielders like you just said. Basuma does it on the half turn. Do you know how many times? Do you know how many times Basuma gave the ball away against Chelsea?
Shitloads.
17. He gave the ball away 17 times. He was atrocious. Pat Matasar, all he does is does this, does nothing else. He can't go forward. He goes side to side. He passes the ball left, and then he doesn't even follow the run. The midfield is
but when we win, people call them dons. And listen, this passing out from the back, it's not just about passing out from the back. I'm not saying don't do that because it gives away goals. The reason I'm saying don't play out from the back, partly we've got away with playing out from the back. The amount of times we've gifted chances and the other team's boshed it up. But playing out from the back means we're limited to how we build up the play. Sometimes there's a long ball forward to the wide areas. If you look at the first goal we scored against Man City away, the ball got played to the centre-back and he sent a long pass forward wide to Kulu and then the damage was done. Yeah. Playing out from the back cannot be the only way we build up the attack. That's why I would stop that. Because I think it actually kills part
you know
of
what
the attack.
It is as well. We don't have the profile in the midfield to control.
Thank you very much.
That's what it is.
Right.
We don't have control of what it is. Because what it is, I don't know what's happened to Basuma. Because Basuma, you saw it against Arsenal still, right? He was a different guy. Players were bouncing off him. He was on the half turn. He could dribble, jump. Now, his first touch, fine. Second touch, it gets away from him for some reason. So he doesn't know how to. I think his confidence has been like affected massively. This is what I think. So that's why I think Basuma's days are numbered in that midfield.
He's a box-to-box player, and he's playing in a different role. Ash, it doesn't work.
But I'm just saying we do lack that kind of player that can. When we're like the reason why we like Chelsea bodied us because if you think about it, you got Lavia. He can control the ball, can control the game with his passing, the tempo, the range of passing, and his ability to get on a half turn and beat and break presses. Then you've got Caicedo, similar. Do you know what I'm saying? Similar, not as efficient with the passing as Lavia, but again, he's an athlete, so he combines the two that Sarr can't do. Do you understand? So when you compare Sarr with Caicedo, it's a mismatch. What Enzo's got, he's not an engine, he's not an athlete. But what he has got is good technique and he is good. He's got good passing range. And then you look at Palmer, another player that he can look after it. Sancho can look after it. So then you've got about 5 players that can look after the ball. Spurs, when you deep it, actually on that pitch, maybe Romero, but he got sent off. All right, no, he got taken off because he's injured. Then you think about
you just come with a different argument and everyone's nodding their head. But this is not what we're arguing, right? Let me explain what's just happened because everyone's like, yeah.
All right, cool. Sorry.
No, what you're saying is spot on. But that's not what I was arguing. We were arguing, what's the problem, the attack or the defense more so? And I'm saying the defense is a bigger problem than the attack. You've come in talking about controlling a game of football. I agree. We never control a game of football. But your argument... Andrew and Eugene...
Because I've been saying the midfield all night. And he is right because the midfield is the main problem.
That's not the argument we just had. Listen, you guys have changed the argument, man. I'm on the ball, right? I'm on the ball. The argument was
I'm choosing midfield.
No, we hold on. You took issue with me saying that I said our attack, I think, is very, very good. I think we are actually a quality team when we attack. That's what I said. You took issue with me bigging up the attack.
Yeah.
And then I said to you, I don't think attacking is our major problem. I think it's defense. I think we need to sort out the way we defend and the way we're set up for defending. Then Ash comes in with, no, you got to control the game. When you control the game, I'm like, hold on a minute.
Go on, Eugene. Sorry, go on.
No, we agree with you, Ash. But our argument was, Andrew and I are saying our attacking stats are skewed because of 4 games. We cannot score more than 1 goal against low-block teams because our wingers cannot cross the ball. Solanke's best attribute is in the air. But we are wingers who cannot cross. So against low-block teams, we can only score 1 goal. In other games, players are in position to score
Goals have been
and
on
they
the
don't
ground.
execute.
All of
Leicester,
Southampton's goals have been on the ground.
what's that? No, but Newcastle, Leicester, probably 4 or 5 other games where we should have scored 4 or 5 goals, and they just don't execute because they're not good enough. We all agree that our defense needs adjustment, that we're not good defensively.
Of
But
course.
offensively, our quality isn't there.
Agreed.
There are a lot of games that we can kill off that we don't, and there are a lot of games where when teams play low block against us, we don't have the players that fit Ange's system to beat the low block. That was our point.
That I'm saying, like, go on, Stell, go on.
Yeah.
When you're leading a game, right?
Mhm,
When you're
mhm.
1-0 up,
Yeah.
like we were against Fulham, like we were 2-0 up against Brighton, like we
Yep.
were against Chelsea,
Mhm.
the attack is doing its job.
Mhm,
When
you're
the
correct.
defense lets us down, they concede, our players' heads drop. They're like, shit. The defense then spreads this poison through
All right.
the team, and then we capitulate.
So-
What I'm trying to say
Go
is,
on.
I'm not saying our attack is elite level. I'm not saying
I
our
hear
attack
that.
is mind-blowing.
I
What
hear
I'm
that.
saying is, I think our attacking play, when we do get into that attacking groove, I think we're
Yeah.
pretty tasty. I think
But-
we're pretty a team you want to, get behind.
I-
But when we have to shut a team down, shut a game off, defend, compact it, I think we're dog shit.
No, but
I
what
think
it is
we're all-
though, there's different ways to defend. So you can defend whilst resting with the ball. So because we don't have those midfielders, that's what I mean by control. Because if you've got the ball, a bit like City, a bit like what
I
Chelsea
agree.
did,
Ash, I agree with you. I
Yeah.
agree with you.
yeah, like that's when I'm saying like the defenders don't look as bad. Do you know what I'm saying? So you're not looking as bad with Dragushin and Ben Davies in centre backs. You're not looking as bad with Mickey van der Ven and Romero as centre backs, or the Doggy as a left back, or Porro as a right back. Because they say people are saying they're not right backs, they're not left backs. But if you had a midfield where you can control the actual domination of the ball in the final third, then it doesn't keep turning over. The problem is when we do get into those midfielders are making mistakes, and those mistakes are leading to the turnovers, and then also positionally as well. If you look at the midfielders, because it's not just defending with defenders, it's defending as a unit. Like when we press, we're meant to press as a unit, but when we drop, we're meant to drop as a unit. But then also, as I'm
Is that
saying,
the attack's fault, Ash? Is that the attack's fault?
no, but I like you've got rest defense, and then you've got attacking, rest attack. You've got rest attack. So what I'm saying is,
No, now you're making things up. Rest attack.
rest defense. Okay, rest attack is when you leave players high up the pitch. Do you understand? So when you leave players high up the pitch, like you say, Solanke, don't come back, because like if we hit a counter, we need you higher up the pitch. Do you know what I mean? If Solanke comes back and he's defending, then we don't have an out ball. Does that make sense? That's what I mean by rest attack. I mean, that's the terminology I'm using. I apologize. It's a bit off. But what I mean is, I think what Ange has done.
I need to write that one down. Hold on, rest attack. I need to.
Yeah, you know what I mean, innit? You know what I mean? Like rest defense. You know what I mean? Like when we've got the ball, you've got we only have 2 players behind the ball, because it's normally Mickey van der Ven and Romero. They're behind the ball. There's the 2 defenders. That's our rest defense, and the rest are higher up the pitch. Do you know what I'm saying? Rest attack is the opposite. When we are defending, you want those attacking players higher up the pitch, so then we could do quick transitions. Johnson's got space in behind; he can run. Solanke's going to be near to him, because a lot of the times we're making Solanke defend, and because he's defending, he's deep on the pitch. That loses our ability to hit teams on transitions, and it doesn't get Solanke inside that 6-yard box because he's too far away from it.
Okay, Ash.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, but when you've got the fullbacks pushed up and the midfielders fluff around and lose the ball, you now leave these massive gaping gaps for teams to exploit. So many teams this year have hurt us by attacking down the flanks. That is a defensive vulnerability that we.
And I'm not disagreeing with that. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that.
It's things like that why I say it's the defensive tactics that lets us down. The amount of times I see us defending with just 2 at the back, and I'm like,
Still,
this is insane. This is madness.
Do you think the game on Sunday? Do you think that was bad defensive display, or do you think that was bad individual errors from our midfielders? Because I'm not.
I think it's both.
it is a bit both, but I'll give you 3 examples of what I'm talking about. Jadon Sancho picks up the ball on the left-hand side, okay? Pat Matasar is absolutely miles away from the ball, by the way. Basuma's miles away from the ball, by the way. Kulusevski's up the pitch, not his fault. He was attacking before in the transition. Okay, Sancho's taken 7 touches, and then we've got to a defender. Midfielders should be wary of where the ball's going. There's 20 yards of space on that side. They're not clever enough. That's my problem, number 1. That's the first problem. Number 2, Postecoglou's system and everything else does now. Again, I'm not a Postecoglou in. I'm just saying his system does not warrant a dumb decision from our midfielders like Pat Matasar and Basuma conceding 2 penalties. That is not a system error. That is individual players and certain players out of position.
It is a little
and by the way, Basuma was way out of position. Shouldn't have gone for the tackle. And Sarr's brain dead. So what I'm saying is 3 out of the 4 goals that we have conceded against Chelsea were individual errors from our midfield. So this is the point. When you say our defence, yes, our defence is not great, but we've gifted them 3 goals because of those things. Okay,
I never disagreed that. I never once said our midfield isn't to blame. I said our attack is not to blame.
I understand. I think
you're now saying to me the midfielders can't defend. But this is what I'm saying to you.
I'm saying that the midfielders are not clever enough to get ball possession. The way Ash was saying, Ash was talking about the old rest attack and rest defense. I mean, I'm not. Sorry. But honestly, when you look at the midfielders, they are making individual errors, and then we yet blaming the system.
And the Brighton game, look.
And can't keep blaming the system.
It is the system.
At Newcastle as well. Because when Salah lost the ball at Newcastle, there was nobody behind him. Isak's got 30 yards of space. He puts it in. That is a midfield error. I don't think that is a system error with our defence.
I got against Newcastle. The whole team was on the halfway line, and we said before the game,
because our midfielders are brain dead. That's why they're brain dead.
No, but wait. To be fair,
oh my lord.
To be fair, Stell's got a point, and Eugene can come in afterwards. I was going to say because what Ange is kind of gambling on is he wants his teams to press high up, right? So he wants to commit about, 3 or 4 men to the press, or 5 even, sometimes 5 men to the press.
Yeah.
Once that press is beaten,
finished.
Well, so that's a system issue, is it not?
Yeah, yes, it is. But also, I'm talking about the individual errors in terms of conceding goals.
In terms of the actual goals, yes, but in terms of chances given up.
I've just given you 4 goals, 3 for Chelsea that we've gifted them, and 1 for Newcastle we've gifted them.
Right.
The Brighton game.
My point was, yes, I agree with Still. Our defence does need a little bit of TLC, 100%. But if we're looking at our individual players in defence, I don't think a lot of people would change a lot of individual players in our defence. The system has to change 100%, but the individual players in our midfield and our wide positions has to change. And we are not going to be successful in. We're talking about cups; it's delusional. We are not going to be successful without having a decent midfield. When you look at other teams that come to White Hart Lane or we go away, like Eugene said against Bournemouth, they were absolutely annihilating our midfield. We're talking about Bournemouth.
And look, if you look at the Brighton game,
because the defense was too high up.
Now go on, Eugene.
So, Andy, to your point, Brighton game, all 3 goals were from individual mistakes, right?
I agree.
And I think many games,
what are we doing?
Udogie,
Eugene,
the
mentality completely went off.
The Arsenal game was from a free header.
Oh, no. Yeah.
The Bournemouth game from a free header.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Ange's system is good. Again, that's a different thing. But the goals that we're giving up, a lot of them are from just brain dead individual mistakes that can be avoided if the players had better awareness, tactical awareness, a better IQ. And that goes for Bissouma in the midfield and for the defenders as well. For Romero, for Udogie. They just check out sometimes, and it leads to silly mistakes that cost us games.
All right, to caveat though.
These defenders got 5th place last season. 5th place.
We should have had 4th.
Right. They should have got 4th, but we finished 5th.
We
are currently 11th, and you are cussing the players that got 5th. Talk to me about that, Eugene. Because they didn't come overnight from being a 5th place group of defenders, because we didn't buy any new defenders. It's the same lot. Udogie, Van de Ven, Romero, and what's his face? Porro. It's the same defenders as last season. They got 5th. They're 11th for a reason, because we've been found out, and tactically, better managers are bringing it to Spurs, and this manager won't adapt. So you can cuss the players, But where were you bigging them up last season when they finished fifth?
Wait,
The same-
Romero not marking
same
his man
defenders.
on a set piece, that's on Ange. If Gabriel scores on Romero on a set piece,
They finished fifth last
that's
season,
on
Eugene.
Romero.
They finished
No, but
fifth.
That's fine. But you cannot say
Why
that
is Romero regressing then? Why is Romero regressing?
He's injured.
he's a senior player. He's a World Cup winner. He is one of the captains. It's on him
Yeah.
to put on the ship.
Thanks for telling me who he is. Why is he regressing?
Well, I don't know. He's not. I don't know why.
I know you don't, because he's
But
not
yeah,
being
you're saying-
coached,
okay,
man.
so
The
it's- it's
system isn't
an
being coached. I
So
know
it-
why. They're coached poorly. Defensively, they are
that's-
poorly being coached as a unit and as an individuals. This season, Porro, Van der Ven as well, Romero, and Udogie, all four defenders look worse as individuals this season. Not
but
one
you-
of them. You've isolated Romero. Hold on. You've
Our
isolated
metrics
Romero.
better this year. Still,
You've hold on. I don't care about your metrics. You talk about Romero. Yeah. Udogie this year, everyone said it. He's been trash.
Yeah.
Porro this season, we bigged him up last season saying Porro has improved as a defender. He's got worse. Van der Ven has made more big mistakes this season I've seen than last season. All four defenders have got worse as individuals. That is on the coach. That is a coaching matter.
So if
I don't
Romero
understand why you're
loses,
picking on Romero.
That is a coaching matter to a point. I agree with you to
a point with young players, yes. But if Romero keeps losing in individual battles and gives up goals, that's on him. If Gabriel scores on him on a set piece in the corner, that's on Romero for not getting stuck in and marking.
Can we come off Romero and talk about the other three defenders that regressed? Because you're picking on the one to win the argument. The other three defenders have all regressed as well. Why? All of them have regressed.
What's your definition of regressed?
But we have
No,
the sixth
I
best
wanna
defense
hear-
in the
hold
league
on,
this
no.
season.
I want to hear this argument. All those three defenders look worse as individual defenders this season. Why?
But we have the sixth best defense in the league at the moment.
Yeah, they look better. They didn't look better last year. I don't think they did.
Udogie wasn't better last year than what you're seeing now.
Individually, as a unit.
Yeah,
they were
Udogie
not
was much
last
better
year.
I'm saying to you, individually this season, they each individually look worse as defenders. Why?
But
all
as a
of them.
unit, our numbers are better. Our defensive
Stop changing
stats
the
are better.
argument. As individuals, Eugene, I know what you're trying to do here. As
No,
individuals, why do they look worse one-on-one? Why?
But it's the same system as last year, though.
So I'm not
My
sure.
question isn't about the system, guys. Right? You're deflecting. I can see what you're doing.
You're-
Why do they
you're-
individually
getting
look
it
worse?
personal.
1 minute. You're saying the tactics and the system is the reason why they're defending bad. It was the same system last year.
Andrew, the point is you are the sum of your parts. If the individuals regress, the system regresses. Right?
Okay.
The individuals are worse. Why?
Individual problem.
I know what it is. We
So it's an
are
individual problem.
coaching.
Is exactly
not-
what you're saying.
We're not coaching
you-
defending.
Do
We
you
are
think
not
do
working.
you think
What I'm
fatigue?
saying
Do you
is
think
that
fatigue's
they
got
were
an
absolutely
element to it?
fine to do it last year.
Danny Rose improved under Poch. Carl Walker improved under Poch.
I think you
All
just-
our defenders improved under Poch. He
think you
coached it.
proved our point
This
because
guy, Ange doesn't coach it.
One at a
Johnson
time,
Dog is
guys.
exhausted. He has no
Johnson-
cover.
Johnson looks better. You know why? We coach attacking. Kula looks better. You know why? We coach attacking.
Johnson
He
looked better.
coaches attackers. He can't coach defending, this guy. He can't do it.
But what we're saying is it was okay last season to get us fifth.
Yes,
So individually they're not good enough in that system this season.
because they're not being coached, man.
But
They
how can
came
you
in
tell?
decent.
They have been
But
coached.
the goals conceded per game a lot less than last year.
Because
Doesn't make sense.
listen, Marlon.
Yeah,
Marlon,
that's my question.
Goals per game
Yeah,
is
conceded. Yeah.
what
Is-
this time last year compared to last season.
Well, yeah, it's a lot less.
Okay, for me, let's look at that. Let's look at these stats at the end of the season. Once you've played
Yeah,
everyone, because there's 4 teams we haven't played yet. Liverpool, you know we're going to get blammed. They'll probably put 4 past us. Suddenly the stat looks different. What I'm saying is, for me this season, I think teams have had enough time to look at Spurs. Managers have had enough time to get video data to watch Spurs' vulnerabilities and say, right, this is how we hurt Spurs.
Correct.
And they're going after us because they know defensively we're vulnerable. And when I look at the individuals, does Van der Ven look better this season? No, he doesn't. Going forward, he looks better. Defensively, he doesn't. Romero looks much worse. Porro looks the shadow of the play he was last season. Udogie looks absolutely cooked. And I say to myself, why are they all bad? They're not being coached. They're
They're
not being
tired
developed
still.
as defenders.
So can I ask a question on that? Do you not think, but in most of the games this season, I'm not saying this to say all of them,
Yeah.
they haven't had the midfield in front of them that they had last year because it's been 1, but last year they had 2. So they it was always Saar Basuma or kind of Bentancur last year, but this year it's been Kulu, Madison, and one other up until recently. So do you think they're more exposed to the reason why they're looking a lot worse individually?
No, I think this obsession with the inverted fullbacks absolutely rips us a new one. I think the amount of space we leave in the wide areas has got nothing to do with the midfielders. Actually, I think the space we leave in the wide areas is because we push so many people up to try and squeeze the game that we play this high risk football that exposes us. I
Just on
think
that,
teams. I think teams deliberately target the channels. They know we know we're vulnerable down there, and I think that's what I put it down to personally.
just on that, do you think both Udogie and Porro play in the tens at the same time? Because I know last season that was happening, but this season
I
I'm
don't
not.
seem like it's not
I
happening
don't.
as much.
It's not happening.
I don't think that's happening as much. Like that's
Against
what
Chelsea, I was watching the Chelsea game and I saw both of them inverted forward on the edge of the box. Against Man City, if you look at all 4 goals we scored, because go look at all 4 goals we scored. If you freeze frame the picture so you can see the penalty box, just outside the penalty box, the wide areas, you won't see Porro or Udogie in any of those screenshots. Ange played it different against City, and we were having this debate on, I think, Hotspur Hood, where he was saying, "There's your blueprint. This is what suits Spurs the best. A little bit deeper, counter-attacking football. This is we can still press. Let's not be Conte and not press, because Conte had everyone back, but play with the press, not an all-man press, but sit deeper. So there's that space in the middle. Attack that because we've got them there."
So you said a mid block, basically, essentially a mid block, a mid press, kind of like.
Yeah.
And
that tactic, we actually looked dynamite. Madison looked sick. And you're thinking, do you know what? This works. And then I don't know why. After that game, he went back to his usual. And what happens?
Ash, I have a question for you.
Roma.
I actually disagree. I thought Porro was probably the deepest I've ever seen him against Chelsea. To be honest with you, I didn't think he was inverting that bad. And actually, when Jadon Sancho picked up the ball, Porro was right in front of him. So I don't think we inverted a lot against the Chelsea game. Actually,
From where I was sitting watching the game,
and also the Enzo goal.
I looked up.
He was literally in front of him.
I looked up a few times. Okay, for the goals maybe, but for a lot of the game, they were inverted up high. And I thought to myself, because this is how they got in behind us. Where do you think that's... Listen, Andrew, where do you think that space came from when they attacked us?
Yeah, no, I'll tell you where the space came from. The space came from Pedro Porro getting drawn in. That's where it wasn't a problem of inverting. The problem is he went to ball, got pulled out to the side, and then obviously Basuma's made that challenge. So Basuma had to drop into that space because Porro gave the space away. So I don't think it was a problem with it wasn't an inverted problem. It was actually genuinely. I actually think that I think Porro just got a little bit of brain dead. If I'm being honest with that goal.
For me, we were too high up against Chelsea, man. We were too high up.
Pick up the ball on the left-hand side, and there's 3 players that are not willing to make a challenge. Obviously, that I agree with you. But
hold on, guys. Still, against City, the first 2 goals we scored from a high press. That didn't come on a counter. We played on the counter in the second half, but in the beginning, we got the turnovers.
No. The first goal came from a long pass from Dragusin to Kulu out wide. It was a long ball forward. It wasn't high press.
Maybe second and third, but I remember we got the turnovers.
Now you're changing it. The second goal was from a press. Yes,
from memory. I'm
the
not
second
saying
goal was from a press.
Second goal
that was a question.
Okay, I've answered it.
But I remember 2 goals came from high press. We didn't play on the counter the whole time.
The second goal came from a high press. But I did say that. I did say against Man City, we played a more counter-attacking game, but we still had a bit of high press. I did say that. And then Ash said, yeah, so mid-block. And I said, yes, Ash. And we stopped doing that. We then went against Fulham, Ipswich, Roma, and now Chelsea, and we completely changed the way we set up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, guys, this is where it was won and lost.
Look at that defense. That is flat.
So basically, what happened was, from what I saw, he was cheeky because Palmer, he was peeling off, as you can see, into that space just behind Basuma and Son. Basuma's got the arrow on him. I don't know if you can see that. And Son's on the far left. So that's where Palmer's operating. And then Enzo Fernandez also is in the pocket. And in the far left, that's where you can see Sancho. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's where we weren't picking up these 2 players. And then what they were doing is that when they got on the ball, they would look for these 2 players. So sometimes you would see Lavia pick those players up. So look, I've highlighted who's this player here? I've highlighted, I think it's Dragushin or Romero. Romero is meant to push on Enzo Fernandez because Enzo was the third spare man, if that makes sense. You can see Basuma marking Palmer right there. And those are the players that have gone to press. But once that press was broken, that's when we look a bit shoddy because Enzo could either play it out to the channels. You can see, obviously, Doggy's left. You can see Romero's right. They've got their men. They're picking up their men. But the problem is the spare man. And that's where I see Enzo was causing us all types of problems. And then also, look, it shows it here. Look, you can see there when we beat the press, look, Lavia's on the ball, or Casado's on the ball. And then there's a gaping hole because Enzo's right in the middle. Look, no one's there free. Because remember, Jakusin is having to run back now. He's like, oh shit, look, I got to defend all of a sudden.
How are you telling me that's not an individual error? I'm really sorry. But that flat three-man midfield is a disgrace there. You can't leave with 25 yards.
Another one as well. Look, so you see Basuma. I've highlighted them. Like there's a little line between him and what's it called? Cole Palmer. Now the reason why Basuma's getting drawn to Cole Palmer is because we call it gravity, innit? Like basically the pull of the player. He's such an important player that you want to focus on him. You're thinking he's the danger man. So because he hasn't got a double pivot with him and Sar's joined the press, it's left a gaping hole in the middle. So that pass out from Caicedo or Lavia, whoever was on that position, once they pass it to Enzo, Enzo can hurt us each and every way. So that's what, for me, wasn't really the inverted fullback was the problem. I saw this.
But Ash, hold on. The inverted fullback is one failure. Look at that high line. Look
at that's another line.
They're not inverted at all.
But that's what I'm saying.
In those moments, they weren't. But there were other attacks. There were other counter-attacks that Chelsea fucked up where they were inverted.
But these ones led to shots. So this is why I'm bringing them up.
Yeah, but they didn't score from him, so it's irrelevant.
We got away from it. Yeah, we got away with it.
But that's the reason why they did score from it. Because look, Basuma's by himself. He's not with a double pivot. So the tactic of having Basuma in a 4-1-4-1, because that's how we pressed.
Yeah.
We pressed in a 4-1-4-1. And that's where the problem was because Basuma is left to deal with Palmer. Palmer's movement's elite. Fernandez is running from deep, but you can see Lavia. Look at the passing lane there.
So the system let down Basuma then.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because he's not a 6. I agree with that. Yeah, 100%, I agree.
100%. Look, so that's the point I was making. Look, that's got Spurs pressing. It works. It does work. So it's not always, and it's the trade-off. This is what I'm trying to say. It's a trade-off because when the press works, we get a chance out of it, and this is where it does go well. You know, Sarr breaks the press. He goes right into Solanke. Solanke passes it into Son. Son's out wide, and then Son's able to find Solanke, and Solanke should finish. But I don't know. When I did watch it back, it was a little bit behind him, to be fair. But again, Solanke has to be more clinical in these moments. So I do hear what Andrew's saying, where the attack needs to be a lot more, and also Eugene, the attack needs to be a lot more potent in these moments, because this is where if we go 3-0 up, we've effectively killed the game. Do you know what I'm trying to say? 100%. So these are the moments, like we don't get a lot of them. But just moving on past this.
You shouldn't be losing from 2-0 up though, Ash.
No, 100%. No, there's no excuses. 2-0's abysmal, isn't it? But again, look, Solanke, he's doing a Kane thing where he drops in that ball, he's able to shield off the defender. And then this is the chance where Son has, where Doggy looks like he's going to run for it, and then he kind of leaves it to Son. Son's there out wide. You can see Son out wide. And this is the chance when I'm like, Son punished him. Do you know what I'm saying? Leave that up to the linesman. Leave that up to VAR for them to rule it out. Do you know what I'm saying? Look, you can see even Werner's got his hand up there. Can you see it in the corner? Werner's hand's up. And I'm even made an arrow. I said, look, could he square it to Werner? Either way, he could just pass it into the net. It's not a hard finish, I don't think, for Son. Son's normally elite at this. So this, for me, this season, he's been an anomaly. He hasn't really been getting it in. And it goes wide. And I think that was like one of the problems. But look, these are the things that were killing us. Their double pivots were making those false runs. You can see Cucurella. Cucurella's high up the pitch. He's inverted. Do you know what I'm saying? You've seen Sancho's on the ball. Cucurella's inverted. I know you're saying both fullbacks inverted, but they invert their fullback. What's it called? Cucurella also played as a 10 at times. When he played as a 10, that's when you saw Enzo Fernandez drop into the double pivot as a 6/8. That's what would happen. That's the rotation.
Caicedo. Who's that next to Caicedo?
Next to Caicedo, That would be Solanke. Looks like the shape
I
of
mean,
him looks
look
like
how
Solanke.
flat-footed he is. That's a joke.
Yeah. So that's what's happening. We're getting drawn out, and then that's when Basuma takes on his own head and he makes that ridiculous challenge, and then obviously it's a
So
penalty.
brain dead.
But I'm gonna bring it back because obviously I just wanted to show the tactical player. This is what I picked up, and I'm just gonna quickly just say, look, number 8 is Fernandez, who Kulizeski's on. Number 45 is Lavia, who Sarr is on, 29. Yeah. Number 8, Palmer. You've got the two wingers inverted. That means Porro and the doggy. Look, you see the little lines? That's the half spaces. Those are the pockets. That's where the wingers they're very clever. They knew to either be in a half space or pull out wide. If they wanted to receive the ball, they would drop past the halfway line and drop deep in. So that way, Porro couldn't follow him all the way out. And that's how these wingers, again, for Chelsea, they always retain possession, and our wingers don't do that. So then, look, I've put a square box here. Look, you can see the rotation in a second, where you've got Lavia, number 45, number 8, Enzo Fernandez, and they rotate because Caicedo, as a right back, he inverted, and he played as the double pivot with Lavia, and Lavia moved across to the left-hand side, which meant Enzo Fernandez, number 8, could push up undetected. And so now you've got Basuma against both Enzo Fernandez and also Cole Palmer. And that was a tweak that we were struggling with, I think, 2/3 into the second half, or halfway into the second half. I think 20 minutes into the first half. That's when Chelsea started to gain momentum, when they scored the goal with Sancho, and we started to struggle a bit. And then the last phase I want to pick up on, the last phase was when actual Lavia came off. Oh, I missed it. When Lavia came off, what happened was, I didn't even put the bit in, but sometimes you would see Fernandez go into the double pivot. So the number 8 would be where 45 is, and it'll be 8 and 25 as a double pivot. And they got the rest defense as free. Number 5, number 6, number 3 as 3-man defense. That's all I wanted to say really about that tactically. That's where I think Maresca outschooled Ange in that particular instance, in my opinion. But yeah.
But Ash, the quality in the midfield.
Also the quality
It's
of
a
the midfield
clear
as well.
quality. They ran through us
You've got
all game.
Correct. You've got 25, who's Caicedo, who's playing as a right back. He's got good control of the ball, a technical player, better than Sarr. You've got 45, Lavia, who's better than Basuma. Number 8, Enzo Fernandez, technically better. He's not an engine, he's not an athlete, but he's better technically. Palmer, 20. So the box midfield technically is better than our whole midfield. And they've got 4 midfielders to our 3 if you actually deep it. Am I making sense? So you've got 4 controllers, 4 players, and then you've got a player, number 19, in Jadon Sancho, who can look after the ball as well. So then we don't have that in a Johnson. He's not technically sound.
And Neto as well on the other end.
And a Neto, for me, he's a dribbler, yeah. But the way I think his skill set's slightly different to Jadon Sancho. Very good ball direct dribbler. He's more of an out-and-out winger, where he wants to take his man on. Whereas Sancho, for me, he can kind of like hold on to the ball, look after it, like go one way. He's a bit more unpredictable in that sense. So it's similar skill set, but slightly different in profile, Sancho to maybe a Neto. But again, far better than our wingers, if that makes sense. But that's all I wanted to say on it. I don't know if you guys had any other thoughts as well, but yeah.
I'm just astonished because last season, Eugene, you said to me, spending big money doesn't guarantee success. And you use Chelsea as an example. Chelsea, with the same squad, they changed the manager. Suddenly, they're great. It's
they were
on
great
the manager
too, in the second half of the year, right? They were making progress.
So many Spurs fans last season said, spending big gets you nowhere. That doesn't guarantee success. Look at Chelsea, blue £1 billion bottle jobs. This year, that squad with a different manager and a different way of playing. Oh, but they've got better players. No, they've got a better manager.
But no, still, they bought good players.
No, they really do have a better manager.
Look at Man United. That's a different story. They spend money. The recruitment is bad. Chelsea bought good players.
I'm using Chelsea example and you deflect.
No, I'm not deflecting. I'm just saying they spent a lot of money on good young players. Second half of last year, they were doing very well. Whether they sacked Pochettino or not, they were improving and they finished strong.
I can't understand this. We spent money
They're
on
nowhere near what Poch did last season. Chelsea look a completely different animal.
They're spending
Look
money.
at the players.
No disrespect, but they're spending money on good young players. I mean, we're not spending little amounts. We're spending 40, 50 million on young players. Brennan Johnson's one of those as well. I mean, I have to say that one thing I've always agreed with Stel on is Lange and them guys that are buying the players and who's doing the transfer activity, they're a disgrace. Because I'm really, really sorry. There is a reason why he got sacked from Villa. And came to us, because the fact of the matter is they are pony. If you're telling me that the amount of money that Postecoglou spent, that you couldn't have spent it on different players, and actually over 200 million that we've probably spent on players, and we've gone backwards. I mean, for 200 million, I would expect us to be not only be challenging a top four, but trophies. I genuinely would be, and that's with Kane being gone. If I'm being honest with you, so. We were spending 70 million on Odebear and Archie Gray, and none of them get into our first 11.
Ange wanted Solanke. Ange wanted Solanke.
That's one. No, but who else? We don't have any other.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Solanke don't score enough.
I agree with Stel. Ange did want Solanke, and it's a disgrace because he spent 65 million on Solanke. Now, again, I'm not saying Solanke is absolutely poo. Solanke is good at doing certain things, but Solanke is just not the striker for us. I probably would have gone for a Jonathan David, somebody who's a little bit more active in a deeper role, who can pick up the ball similar to Harry Kane and who can drive wide with it. So, honestly, the recruitment's been a disgrace. So I'm not just putting everything on Ange. I agree with you. The system and everything is faulty and it's not good enough. But the honest truth is, individually spending the amount of money that we spent, and some of them players need to look at themselves. And we should have got rid of 4 or 5 players in the summer still, and we didn't. And by the way, Basuma was one of them. Basuma was one of them with all this crap with this balloon stuff. He's never, to be honest with you, I haven't actually rated Basuma since he's come from Brighton. I genuinely, I don't think he's been anywhere near what we expected him to be. We also need to understand, when he was at Brighton, he had Caicedo next to him. And guess what? Caicedo does all the running. He has all the ability to drive from box to box. Basuma was the technical ability behind it, but he's never. People say he's at 8, he's a box to box. He can't run. How can he be a box to box?
Have you not spoke about the what's it called game coming up this Thursday, Rangers? Have you not touched on that? Because obviously there's an issue at the moment where we've got Southampton the following, the next few days. We've got games every 3 or 4 days. Like, for you guys, who do you start? Who do you play in that midfield to kind of sort out that conundrum? Anyone can jump in. I just want to know, like, your thoughts. Even the centre-back issue, because we now know that
What game?
Rangers, Thursday. That's our next game.
You know that Madison's going to play, right? Madison's going to play. Bentancur is going to play, and then Bergvall maybe is going to play.
Yeah,
Madison, Bergvall, and who?
Madison, Bergvall, and Bentancur.
So you don't think Bentancur Basuma might play together? Because Basuma's going to be missing. He's going to be on suspension, despite what you think of him.
Despite. I forgot.
Maybe on suspension. He'll play.
Yeah. So do you think it'll be a Bentancur Basuma double pivot then, or do you think one of them will play as an 8, like box to box?
No, I think Basuma will play as a box to box because Bentancur can't play as a box to box. So Bentancur will play as the pivot, and then it will be Basuma playing box to box, and I think Bergvall will end up starting as well.
But then, do you think that would suit Basuma more to play as a box to box?
No,
just no.
I think so.
I don't rate him as a box to box. People cussed him for being a double pivot. I can tell you why Ange plays him in a pivot is because he ain't got the running ability to do it. He doesn't have the running. He can't do box to box. He's technically gifted. Basuma technically is brilliant, but he's so lazy. He does not run. How can you have a player who wants to play box to box and don't run? It doesn't make no sense.
So then, who would you have in the midfield then? If Basuma's not the box to box, then who would you play?
Genuinely, against Rangers, I'd give Archie Gray a go. I genuinely would.
Well, Archie where though? As a box to box?
He's going to have to cover on the right or the left.
Still shaking your head. What do you think?
He's got the legs against Rangers. Listen, I'll be honest with you. As long as we get a draw against Rangers, it's fine. Okay, we get a draw, we win the next game, we're basically through. With Basuma being suspended in the next game, he has to play anyway. Bentancur has to play. He's also suspended. So there's 2. So you've only got one option. So what's the other option going to be? Kulusevski in a 10. Okay, you could go Madison. Yeah, you could go Madison. And to be fair, Madison's probably fresh. But who's going to be the box to box in those 2 out of Basuma and Madison? Because it ain't going to be any of them because they can't run.
So do you think then Bergvall has to play the box to box role? Because he's got more energy, he's youthful, he's got legs. He came on, did a small cameo.
And that's the reason why I wouldn't play Basuma and Madison together. Because they just don't have the legs.
Yeah, the more interesting question is on Sunday with Basuma out, who's going to be in the 6? I'm not
Yeah,
against
yeah,
Southampton. Is it going to be
Yeah.
Gray? Is it going to be
I think Gray
Star?
has to be 6 now. I don't
It
think
has
there's
to be
any
great.
other
It
choice.
has to be
I
great.
don't think
I
there's,
hope
there's no
so, but
He ain't going to play Gray in the 6, man. He ain't
Who
gonna
else
do
he
Who's
play?
going to play 6 then? Do you think, still? Who do you think will play 6? There's no Basuma, there's no Bentancur. Who's going to play the 6?
He
Sar?
has to
Yeah,
play.
Sar will do it. Do you
So,
think
I
Sar
mean,
will do the 6?
Sar can't play that.
Yeah,
maybe Sar, Bergval.
it will be
who-
so.
I don't know.
Sar
Be perfect.
Bergval, you reckon? Because that is a massive message. If Sar plays in the 6 ahead of Archie Gray, that
He will.
tells us
He will.
everything we need to
He
know.
will.
Do you know what I'm saying?
No.
Like Eugene, how would you feel about that if Sar
No,
plays?
no. I'd be very annoyed. I want to see Archie Gray as a 6, even though he's 18 and
Would you question Ange then on that case? Like he's not playing the youngsters, he's not playing the youth, he's
mean-
not playing the right, he's not giving the right opportunities because that's what we thought, Ange was going to come in and do. Give the youngsters a go. Do you know what I mean? That was what we saw at Celtic, or we heard, he's going to get these young players, if not Asian players. Obviously, we're getting Young Min Yuk, so that is part of the deal. And he is young. But would it be mad if Spence doesn't play? Because Spence now, well, go out for Spence. Like, what's going on?
yeah, that'd be mad. So I mean, Poirot and Udogie are exhausted. They need a break, and we can rest both of them in Europe. So one of them is going to have
Spence
to
can't
rest.
play in Europe though. Spence can't play
Exactly.
in Europe.
So one of Poirot and Udogie is going to have to play on Thursday. So we're going to have to rest the other person on Sunday.
So wait, who Archie Gray plays where on Thursday? Where does he play?
On the right or the left?
Who plays centre back?
No, he'll play Archie Gray as a centre back. Sorry, he'll play Archie Gray as a centre back. I'm looking at history. He's never ever going to play anyone else apart from.
So
Archie
then
Gray.
he will have to play. Then he's going to have to play both Udogie and but I'm saying then he has to play Udogie and he has to play Porro left back and right back.
I think.
the right back.
Games in a row.
He can play.
I think
He plays
he has
Spencer.
to. He has to win the Southampton game, right? He must. He must. I think if he doesn't win that, and then your next league game is Liverpool, you're gone. He's going to get sacked. I've said it. They're not going to allow the league position to become a relegation battle. So for me, I think what he'll do is he'll play as many kids as he can in the Rangers game. So Archie Gray will start.
Fans,
will start. Huh?
Don't you think that will piss off fans? If he plays all the kids, it looks like he's not taking the cup seriously.
I think. Well, he's played Bergvall and Gray in most European games anyway. So I think he'll start Bergvall and Gray, and I think he'll start Lancashire as a striker. Werner will go left, and then on the right, maybe Johnson, maybe.
Yeah,
in
Johnson
the middle.
came off. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So Johnson. So it'll be Johnson, Lancashire, Werner. In the middle, I think he'll go Bentancur 100%. I think he'll start Bergvall and no. Basuma. So it'll be Basuma, Bergvall, Madison. Sorry, freaking hell. Basuma, Bentancur, Bergvall.
Mm-hmm.
At the back, he'll play Gray as left or right back. No, he'll play him as a centre back he'll play Gray left or right back. And in the middle, he'll go Dragusin and Van der Ven. I think he'll start Van der Ven.
Van der Ven, that's risky.
No.
I think he plays him. I know it is, but I think he'll do it because if not, he knows that defense is absolutely toast. And then
Who else is there if he doesn't play Van der Ven? And actually, if Johnson is hurt,
he can't play great centre back. He's seen it fail at Galatasaray and he's seen it fail against Roma. He won't do it. He's not going to play him centre back.
But let's say if Johnson is hurt, who can be on the right side? Can Madison be on the right?
Kulusevski will play.
But couldn't he play one of the youth as a centre back? Couldn't he play one of like Dorothy or one of them, man?
Injured.
Is Dorothy injured?
Yeah, he's injured. Yeah.
Oh, he's really screwed.
I think he'll.
He hasn't fought Gray at centre back. He hasn't got a choice.
I think he's forced
against Rangers.
I think he's forced to start him because Gray will go as a right back
against Rangers.
Yeah.
What about that 16-year-old that was on the bench the other day? There was two of them. One was a midfielder. One was a centre back.
That's too young. 16.
Elijah, no, he's way too young.
Can they play in Europe?
Actually, it's a good question. I don't think they're registered, to be fair.
I've got the Europa Cup squad here. So defenders on the bench, we've got Dragusin, Udogie, Romero, Porro, Davies, Van der Ven, Dorrington, Casanova, King, and Hardy.
Casanova.
He might play Malachi Hardy.
Hardy, that's That's the guy I'm talking about. Yeah.
That's a big risk though, man. That's a massive risk.
Are they
That's
registered
worse.
for Europe?
Why can't he just play Spence at right back?
He's not in the Europa squad.
He's on the Europa squad. That's why.
Ange chose not to. Our amazing manager chose not to register him, innit?
Wow, that's an awful decision.
Well, obviously Forster, isn't it? So if
Reguilon, he didn't put Reggie in the squad either.
No.
Wow.
And yet he has them both on the bench against Chelsea, man. This guy's a nutcase. I'm telling you, he's a lunatic.
So he's going to be forced to play Dogi and Poro.
Or he'll rest one of them and play Van de Ven, which is what I think he's going to play Van de Ven.
I'll be honest with you, if he plays Van de Ven...
Because Van de Ven never came off injured. He came off with cramp because he hasn't played for a while. I think Van de Ven...
says the hamstring. You can't play him for a tight hamstring. You just can't.
No, his issue wasn't a hamstring. He went off with cramp. I think Van de Ven plays to get minutes. Maybe half a game, 60 minutes.
I think that was the plan.
Yeah.
He has to play on Sunday, Van de Ven. So, I mean, I can't see him risking him for this one.
No, but Andrew, I think he'll play him a half or 60 minutes.
I still think it's risky.
Everything is risky. I'm worried for Udogie and Poro. They're running on fumes.
It's not like everything is risky. I mean, the guy's been out for 2 months. Like,
I agree with Eugene. Poro and Udogie are running on fumes. He has to rest them. He can't play them. He's got to put Gray in the right back.
I mean, he's an idiot. He hasn't put Spence in the squad, so he hasn't really got a choice apart from playing. Well, he has to play one of them. He ain't going to play. He ain't play both of them. He has to play one.
When I'm sitting here going Ange out, this is why, man. It's not one reason. The guy.
I'm with you as well. I'm not. By the way, we was in agreement last time that we didn't think that Ange is the right guy for us. But the problem is, I'm just scared that there's nobody available right now. Still, that's the honest truth. I don't think that. I think unless you can get a Marco Silva or someone like that, or miraculously bring Poch back for 6 months and see what he does, I genuinely don't think that.
Can I tell you, Andrew, where I'm at with Ange? Right, this is honestly hand on my heart. Where I think,
yeah.
I don't think this guy is tactically going to adapt for those real key moments.
I agree.
When the pressure comes on. So for that reason, I want him gone, right? I don't want him at the club. Do I think another manager comes in and does better with this squad? Yes. Do I think in 2 years' time that manager will be in trouble? Yeah, I think he'll be done as well. But what I'm thinking is this. Arteta took over an Arsenal team that was dysfunctional. The same squad, he won them the FA Cup, and he tactically changed it in the semi-final against City and the final against Chelsea, right? He tactically changed it. I'm thinking if a new manager comes in with the Carabao Cup and the Europa Cup and the FA Cup still on the table and he comes with a different tactic, I think we've got a good chance of winning. I do. That's why I want to change Ange. That's why I want to get rid of Ange.
It has to be a proper manager, though. He can't be one of these jokers. He can't be.
Just before we move on, I just wanted to, because obviously there's a dilemma. The squad is thin, and whether Ange is here or not, I think the club are looking to just improve on the situation, on the left back situation. But I think they're looking at multi-purpose players. Am I making sense? Players that can play more than one role.
That's what Clement Lenglet's, Dan Juma level players. Great.
Well, yeah. Well, you could say that. We could say that. But I'm saying what I mean is, when I say multifunctional, I mean because Longley could only play centre back. I mean players that can play centre back, left back, or defensive mid, or a player that can play all across the front three. So they could play left wing, striker, right wing. Yeah. That way you don't have players that are unhappy because when you get one injury, they can cover centre back. A bit like a Timber. Like Timber can play right back. He's played as a left back. He can actually play centre back. Do you know what I mean? He can play multiple roles. Colafiori the same. He can play left back. He could play centre back. King Cappy. Do you know what I mean? Geertruida. Remember still when I showed you Geertruida? He could play the right back. He could play centre back, left back, or even DM, and he's a captain. So I think we need experience, but we're doing this whole youngster model, and I still think we're not going to abandon it, even though I think we need players that have know-how in it. So I think there's a player that's out there that I reckon the club might look at. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I hate when you do this, Ash, because I'm going to get excited after the video, and then
I weren't going to do it. I weren't going to do it. But that's why.
Why I get upset is because I'm going to watch this video. I'm going to say, "Oh my god, this guy's sick," and then in January, one of our rivals is going to sign him.
Should I not do it? Because I get upset as well. Should I not do it? Should I leave it?
This is what he did with Calafiori. He showed us the Calafiori marketing. He put together this marketing video, Ash. You're like, this guy's sick. Oh my god, we got to get him. And then he signs for Arsenal.
No, the one caveat I'll put is that he's young. He's young, so maybe, maybe not. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I think we need experience. But
Go on, wonder up,
this
wonder
guy,
up, wonder up.
this guy, yeah. Let me hold on. Let me put him in there. Come on, make it move it around. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah, cool. His name's Hato, by the way. He plays for Ajax. Plays left back, but also can play across the back line, centre back or right side of centre back. So it can play across the line. Where else? So can plays in a 4-3-3 in Ajax, and you know Ajax, a school of that type of football. Obviously, we didn't do too well with our latest Ajax centre back in Davinson Sanchez. But yeah, we move, man. We move. Yeah, João Hato, his name is. Look, you can see this heat map. He covers quite a bit of the pitch, and I'm just looking at some of his stats. Where it stands out for me. Progressive carries and passes in the right places. Successful take-ons really good. So he's good as a left back. This is as a centre back, actually. He's really high as a centre back. Tackles really high in the places where you want it to be. Interceptions could be a lot better. That's what he needs to improve on. Blocks. Doesn't really play in the defensive team, so that's why it's not too high. Clearances quite low as well. Aerial challenges, he's not that good in the air. So that's one area I would possibly say he's a bit weak at, maybe. I'm not too sure about that. But in terms of all the other metrics, passing completed, he's tidy on the ball. That's what you want from your centre-back / fullback if you're playing possession side team. Okay, so here he is as a left-sided left back / centre-back. And you can see on the ball, he's got a switch of play, something that can go a bit direct. Again, passing into the box. But yeah, those are some of the shots he's done, some of the passes he's completed. I put against a player called Dorgu because we've been linked with him. Anthony Robinson from Fulham, people like him. A Doggy as well. Malik Fofana, and Nuri as well, who plays for Wolves, who I rate as well. But in terms of that, he's third, so he's in good company in terms of long passing. He's got a good passing range. The passing range completion rate, which I think he should do more of, is in 66.7%. So you know he's got a decent long pass on him. In terms of actual, let me add still back. In terms of passing, again, we can see it here. Balls over the top into the box. Again, from the back, you can see with left foot, ball over the top again. Dink, guy my man finishes it. Again, gets his head up, plays it into the forward line, starts the attack. From the left-hand side, again, hitting that channel, setting those wingers off, gets his head up, goes into the midfield, little short pass, and he travels, arcs for it again, and then boom, finishes it off. Great finish. Receiving, I look at receiving, his first touch. How's your first touch? Because we know that's important in the possession side. When you're trying to keep hold of the ball, you're trying to control games, your first touch needs to be good. So out of Fofana, Dorgu, Nori from Wolves, a Doggy that plays for us, and Anthony Robinson, who we saw against us for Fulham, he's got the best first touch. So, yeah, that's something we look at. And again, here he is in possession. He's able to get away from his player and then find that pass as well. So he's got a good IQ, beats two players, gets his head up, doesn't panic, assured. First touch, good, shakes his body, shapes it, protects the ball, goes into channels again, flicks the ball out, gets his ball out the feet, finds one of his teammates on the side here, brushes that player off, uses his body, uses his strength just to motorize. Like acceleration. Every time he gets the ball, first touch, second touch, accelerates past the player. Gets the ball here, in the box, confident enough, very calm and assured there, doesn't panic. Here he is again, just on the outside of the box, and he's able to pirouette and then make that pass. First touch, brilliant, on that kind of left-hand side, from that fullback area, able to dink, drive one way or the other, and then finds a player. Doesn't panic. So a little bit different. Could add competition for the Doggy because, again, he's a younger player, but again, very competent, confident on the ball, always wants it, shows him for the ball, first touch. And it is a lower league, but I do look for things where players are trying to pressure him. Here is tackles one. He wins a lot of tackles out of all those defenders again. Here he is defending here, last-ditch defending, coming across the box. This is what's important as a fullback or centre-back, able to get across from his man, get down and dirty. There he is going to ground again, getting his foot, winning the interception there, reading the play, getting his foot out in the right place, taking that ball. He has to get fouled there when he does win that ball back. Reads the play perfectly there, knows when to stick that foot out. Again, rides that challenge, gets that 50-50 as well, and he's there to battle for it. Again, little 1-2, there he is. Bodies that player, uses the shoulder, And it's something that you want from your player. They're using his body effectively, using his shoulder, using his width, using his height just to get across players. Look at it, it's very calm, composed. Not only does he win the ball, but he's able to pass it out from the back as well and start the attack. Here he is dribbling outside from the box. Good sliding challenge, gets out of feet, good defending here again. Look, 50-50, he wins that, he uses his pace to get across the box. But I'm just saying, as a player that can play multiple roles, left back, centre back, I wouldn't be mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I just wouldn't be mad. That's what I'm
I
saying.
know exactly where he's going.
He's
I
going
can
off.
see it
Liverpool
already.
or Chelsea.
Liverpool.
He's-
Liverpool.
I agree
Oh,
with
he's-
Sal. I'm going to be really mad.
He's going
Next
off.
year.
Replace Robertson, isn't it? To place Robertson for Liverpool, yeah.
He's
Exactly.
going Liverpool, man.
He's going Arsenal when Zinchenko leaves, isn't he?
But I'm saying, if the board is serious and they're like,
He
you know,
he
we're
looks-
coming
he
down
looks-
hard on them, Levy out, protest, whatever. I don't know. Does Levy panic and get in the book? I don't know. I'm just saying. You never know. Is that am I
Yeah,
being?
I mean, going away
not
from
optimistic?
defenders,
I should calm down, innit?
going away from defenders, why are we not buying that Cardoza back in January?
He's got a hamstring injury. He's got a hamstring injury.
He's not all that. I've watched him play. He's not
He's
all
got a
that.
hamstring injury at the moment.
He's pulled a hammy, yeah? Really?
Yeah, he's pulled a hammy. He's not playing at the moment. He hasn't played the last 8 games.
But, Ash,
Yeah,
can I just address a comment in the chat? Someone,
Yeah.
Checkmate, who clearly is a fan of mine, he says, Stel said years ago, if you do a project with youngsters, you've got to give them time and accept you'll be down the league table. When the club does a project, he wants the manager out. We're not doing a project with youngsters, my friend. We're not doing it, are we? Where's the project with youngsters? Bergvall, Gray, they never start in the Premier League. Where's the project with youngsters? So, by all means, if you think this is a project, maybe we're watching a different game.
Well,
This was a project.
just a caveat quickly. Maybe is he trying to blood them in slowly, or is that a poor excuse? Because the Europa's where you get them to get minutes, and then you slowly introduce the
The
Premier
last
League.
10 years has been a project. I mean, I think it's just an excuse.
What, to blood them in slowly in Europa? And
No, I
then,
mean, we say blood them in, but I mean, the honest truth is we're just buying these young kids and we're not really playing them. The only ones that we've actually played is Adogi and Poro, and we bought them for
I mean,
substance.
Archie Gray's playing, just not in the right position. I mean,
Archie Gray is not playing. He's not going to be a starter for us this season. I mean,
right. I mean, how many 18-year-olds are you seeing as a number 6 just in the world, right? Usually 6s are mature men, 25, 26.
Is he a 6? Because when I saw him go midfield a couple of weeks ago in the Europa League, I thought he looked terrible.
I mean, he wants to be a 6.
Yes,
That's what we signed him for,
I
at
thought he
least
looked
according
weak on the
to...
ball. I thought he looked weak on the ball. I thought his turning was okay. His turning was good. But like, is this guy a number 6? There's a reason why Ange is playing him at right back, because I don't think he's ready to be a number 6. Everyone's moaning about him being a number 6, but I don't think he's strong enough to be a number 6. If I'm being honest, I think if he goes to being a number 6, I think he get absolutely torn to pieces.
Well, he's still young, right? As an 18, it's tough to be a number 6. That's what
can
I'm
I
saying.
ask guys real quickly?
Ash, Pete, this same guy now is trying to defend himself. He's saying Adogi.
Yeah, but wait.
Adogi is a part of Ange's Project Youth because Adogi was signed when Conte was here.
But still, answer me this though. Forget the chat for a second. Just on the actual podcast, because people will be listening to this on Spotify as well. I want to know what different types of 6s are they, because we need to distinguish what type of 6 we need. Is there a 6 where it's a destroyer that we're looking for, or is it a 6 like that dictates, that's good in possession, that's calm, or is it a 6 like what are the different types of, like, can you break that down for me?
You saw the perfect player for us to play. We need a 6 hybrid 8. We need a 6 hybrid 8, not a 6 out and out 6 Wanyama. We need a 6 hybrid 8, someone that can step forward with the ball. And the perfect player, and you saw him play against us the other night. The price was right. He's more than capable. You saw him play against us when we played Roma, Manu Kone. I mentioned his name 2 years ago. He was brilliant at Mönchengladbach. He went for £15 million, I think, something silly, to Roma.
20 million euros, yeah.
20 million euros. Okay, what was that? About 18 million pounds.
Yeah.
That was for me a realistic player that Spurs could have signed. He was in the budget. That's the kind of player I think we need. Or a Zubimendi, but we're never going to get Zubimendi. We're never signing Zubimendi.
But that's the question still. So I'm confused, right? So we're saying that our defense is suspect, so we need a 6 to protect the back line. In that case, we need a destroyer 6. Because if you look at Bentancur, he's a hybrid. He's an 8 that can play a 6, but he's not good enough. So I know Ange might be looking for more of a hybrid, but in reality, all the fans are asking for a destroyer 6
No,
who
I
protects the
think
back line.
Bentancur's not good enough because his legs are gone because of the injuries. I don't think he's not good enough.
But
I
he's
think
never been a 6. He's
I think
been
yeah, I think a fully fit Bentancur could do a pivot role. I like his legs are gone. So obviously that's the reason why we say that he's probably not going to be doing that 6 role because of the injuries.
But all right, cool. All right, cool. Just a quick question. Just a real quick question.
What fans want doesn't suit the system we want. What we want is a Wanyama, but that's not what suits the way Ange wants to play.
If we had 3 positions that we had to narrow down this January and were obtainable, we thought, okay, look, the board can get these 3 positions. What would they be? Like, would it be a forward, like a striker, which they're talking about? They're looking at a forward that's just come out recently in the I don't know, in the press saying that we're looking for a forward. Would it be a left winger? Would it be a right winger? Would it be a 6, like you guys are saying, a destroyer, or a 6/8?
He won't go for a
or
left because we're overflanked on that. We've got Mikey Moore there as well now. We've got Son there. We've got Werner there. So he's never going to go for a left winger. So
we need a left back. Number 1 is a left back for me.
Sorry, yeah. I mean, I'll say a number 6, 100%, not even a question. I would say a backup left back, and I'd say a backup striker. Personally,
you wouldn't say centre back?
No, I wouldn't. No.
A hybrid. If we can get a center back who can play left back, that's perfect.
The reason why I wouldn't say centre back, Ash, is because at centre back you've got Van der Ven Romero, you've got Dragusin, you've got Davis, you've also got Archie Gray that can play there. I think that's 5 players alone that we really need for 2 spots. I mean, we've been a bit unlucky by having Romero and Van der Ven out, and obviously now Ben Davies out. But the honest truth is, 3-4 weeks time, they're probably all going to be back. So I don't really, well, apart from Romero, he looks like 5-6 weeks. But what I'm saying is, we still got 4 players to cover 2 positions, which should be okay for both competitions in terms of Europe. So I don't feel like we need to blow our basket onto a centre back. I do think left back is key because right back you can also have Archie Gray that covers that position as well. So I do think left back is massively key. A midfielder is a must. I'm really, really sorry. But if we don't get a midfielder in January, we are absolutely toothless because it's so evident that we need a 6 and an 8, but they need to get one of them. It's as simple as that. And a backup striker. And the reason why I say a backup striker is because we need somebody who's going to press Dom Solanke. We need to put someone on his toes. And also, we need somebody who's going to play the opposite competition. And playing Lancashire is not good enough in the Europa League. If we play Dom Solanke in the Europe, then he's going to be knackered for the Premier League and other cup competitions. So I do think striker, left back, central midfielder is a must for us. It has to be those 3.
Eugene, what do you think?
I agree. I mean, I think strikers are too expensive, or at least decent strikers. I think left back and a midfielder is a must.
Would you agree
Goalkeeper,
with? Yeah, go on.
maybe not, because Forster is decent, and hopefully Vicario comes back in a few weeks. So next year we need a goalkeeper. This year, left back, a 6. A striker would be great. I just don't see it.
Would you take Jonathan David then, Eugene?
I'm not a fan. I've seen him play for Canada against the US and other games. I'm not impressed. I think he's too slight to play as a 9 in the Prem. I could be wrong. Just my opinion.
He did do well against Real Madrid again in the Champions League. He did score a goal, and I think he's got 6 goals so far in the Champions League actually at the moment. So he's actually having
in the Prem, though. Do you think he's big enough and strong enough to play the number 9 in the Prem? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I just saying that for competition wise, for a Solanke, he's someone that's a bit quicker than Solanke. Finishing left foot, right foot.
20 mil, sure.
Yeah, he's left foot, right foot. He's a bit more clinical, I'd say, than a Solanke, if I'm looking at it. I do agree, though. Physicality is an issue. I think movement as well. When I watch him, his movement isn't elite. I think if
our issue is when you see when Son plays at the 9, when Solanke doesn't play, we're in trouble. We don't have anybody who can link up play and hold up the ball. So if our backup striker or the second striker needs those attributes, he needs to be able to link up play, press, and hold the ball up. And I'm not sure if David can do that.
Stel, what's your thoughts, man? Who do you think we prioritize in the 3 positions in the January?
It's a difficult question to answer because I think there's players there that he's not using, like Spence. I think Spence is capable. Do I think he's the answer? No, but I think he's capable, but he doesn't use him. I feel that Bergvall, he came on against Chelsea, and mate, I saw a good player there. Okay, Chelsea took their foot off the gas and allowed us to play, but I think there's a real player in Bergvall. Archie Gray's been given a lot more minutes than what Bergvall has, man, and that's really disappointed me because pre-season I thought Bergvall might look like a decent player, but when he has come on, either he's really looked half decent or he looks a mess. So I think Bergvall could be that player, but he's not. Again, he's not developing the player. So
When you
if
say
you're saying
still, what do you mean? What number? Sorry, 6 or an 8?
I think Bergvall's a 10.
It's a bit,
I think so.
But we've already got 2 10s, so
Yeah, I know, you're right.
I think
all right,
Bergvall's an 8
He's an
slash
8.
10.
Yeah.
8
I think
slash 10.
I would say an 8 as well. To be fair, I agree with Still. I think in pre-season, I think he looked brilliant, and I'm quite surprised he hasn't had a lot more minutes because when he has come on, I think he's looked good. So it's a bit disappointing, especially considering the form that our midfielders are on. Shall I say, that he hasn't had more time, and I actually hope he does play tomorrow.
I just
Look,
said another thing. Go on.
Ash, if I've got to prioritise 3 positions, right?
Yeah, go on.
A left back,
Yeah.
a proper number 6, but not the way Ange wants it, but just for me as a fan, a proper number 6.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't care whether it's left or right attacking forward, but I want a dribbler. I want someone that beats players. I wanted Eze bad. I really wanted Eze. Okay, he's got some injury issues. Maybe he's not having a good season, but Palace aren't having a good season. But I really want. I really wanted a player. Like honestly, I would break the fucking bank and get that Tyler Dibley from Southampton.
Yeah, he's quality. He's quality.
I'd get Tyler Dibley. I mean, if we can't buy players from Southampton, then just shut down the club.
I think he'll go Man United though.
Morgan Gibbs White. That's who I want as a midfielder.
Well,
Morgan Gibbs White would be.
Would anyone take Cunha?
100%.
Yeah.
Not even a question.
Would you lot sell Romero? I don't know if you lot have gone over it. Would you sell him?
Yes.
Would you sell Romero?
Yes, I would.
Still, would you sell Romero?
No, man, I wouldn't. I get why people are fed up of him, and I get why people are angry with him. But I think this system's killed him, man. I think this system's killed him. I think Romero's a good defender, but I think most fans would disagree with me. Most fans would say get rid of him. I think most fans are fed up of him personally.
I think for the money that we would sell him for, I would get rid of him.
He hated to play under Conte, right? So that didn't fit him. He didn't like it. And now he's just not doing what he can. He cares more about Argentina, obviously, than about Tottenham. And he's just not putting in a shift every single time. So if we can get 80 million for him, 75, I'd sell him.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, so what do you lot's thought on Son as well? Because obviously there's a Son debate happening like up and down.
He's done.
Is that across the board? Does everyone think Son's done? Does everyone agree?
He needs KDB treatment, like Pep treats KDB, plays him once in a while. I think if Son was to stay, that's how we have to treat him. But he always could finish. And this year, for some reason, even that's gone. His legs are gone. He's not explosive. He cannot take on his man. And if he cannot finish now, I mean...
Don't you think in the first 15 minutes against Caicedo, he was just doing him one? Like he was going inside from the outside. He was looking a bit more energetic.
We lost that game once Romero went off, against Chelsea.
I thought so too. I'm not going to lie to you.
I think because he's made some really big mistakes this year that we've just gone from, okay, you're not having a good start to the season. We've gone all the way down to you're just shit. I don't think that's the case. The only thing that bothers me with Romero in this system more than anything is when we play out from the back, I think he spends too much time on the ball where he can just play that pass. It's too many touches.
Isn't he not like looking in for the openings? Because sometimes when you play it too quickly, then basically you lose the ball, if that makes sense. But when you slow it down, it gives players to run into that position. It gives them chance to move around, and then you hit that pass. Or I call it La Pausa, innit? Where you kind of slow down the tempo because we've got no one that puts a foot on the ball, and actually Romero's the one that puts a foot on the ball when he controls the tempo from further back. Like where Dragusin's on the ball, he hasn't got that ability. He has to play that ball over the top, and that's it. That's all he's got. He hasn't got the ability to put his foot on the ball. You see when Brighton do it. Dunk's not good, but you know when Dunk puts his studs on the ball, you know, like the Zerbi, you've seen all of them, the tactical play where they put the foot on the ball and then it baits the press on, and like low blocks, because they come at Spurs, that's when we pass through them and then the space opens up, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? That's just my opinion. I don't know. Obviously, Romero, I do understand, like Stel saying, when he has lapses of concentration, for example, against Leicester, when that cross was come in, and obviously, was it Porro or Doggy didn't defend it, which is obviously their fault as well. But then Romero lets the ball go over, doesn't pick up Vardy coming in behind him. It's things like that we're mad at. Do you know what I'm saying? It's things like the debatable thing when he's at Newcastle at St. James's Park, when it's him and Jagusin, and obviously Romero steps up, Jagusin doesn't. And it's like, who do we blame? Was that Romero's fault? Was that Jagusin's fault? It's things like that where people are pointing the fingers at Romero, like he's brain dead, what's he doing? You know what I mean? I just think like on the ball, quality-wise, I think he does help us with retaining a lot of possession, and he does start a lot of our attacks, in my opinion. So it's like there's negatives and there's positives. And I do not like when it comes to Argentina, he's ready. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to Spurs, bro, where are you, bro?
Like, actually, Ash, I have a question for you. And for the guys on Romero. Romero was always ultra aggressive.
Yes.
Up until this year. I have no idea what happened this year, maybe the red cards, but this year he seems to lose that aggression. And
I agree.
For me personally, that's a big part of his game. I like at least one center back to be aggressive. And for some reason this year, that aggression is not there anymore. And I have no idea why.
Yeah, but there's a medium though. You've got to be aggressive in spurts. You can't be aggressive every game. I mean, last year he was aggressive, got sent off against Chelsea, and ultimately ruined our season. To be honest with you, that game. So, I feel like everyone talks about Romero. I think he's got to grow up a little bit, Romero, because his defending one-on-one this season has been awful, and his mentality last season was terrible as well. So, I feel like if we can get some money for him, it would be a really, really good player to cash in on, because I agree.
But Andrew, this goes back to what I said. All our defenders one-on-one have been shit this year.
They have, but we know that Van de Ven's not shit one-on-one. We do know that. We know
Romero's good one-on-one. We know he's got it.
Well, we've seen it. I mean, to be honest with you, the mistakes even he made last season, we don't know that. I mean, he made more mistakes last season than any of our defenders. Well, this season, Oh yeah, 100%.
Bad last season.
Listen, Adogi and Porro last season were very, very good. And I can tell you that Van de Ven was...
The second half of last season, Adogi was shit.
I would say last 5 games he was shit. I wouldn't say second half at all. I would say last 5 games he was. But actually, Adogi had a good season for us last year. We can't really...
After the injury, he was bad. After that,
apart from the 5 games that we messed up on, clearly, he wasn't good. We know that. But when we look at our fullbacks, they were very, very good last season. And obviously the main standout one was Van de Ven. So what I'm saying is, like, my thing for Romero is his mentality has always been shit. He showed it last year against Chelsea with that red card, absolute stupidness. We're dominating them. We 1-0 up. They can't touch the ball, and he goes and does something stupid like that. Van de Ven goes and pulls a hamstring. It's just that mentality. This year, he's just been awfully bad at individual errors, i.e. Isak, Vardy leaving him at the back post. So for me, I feel like if we can get 70, 80 million for him, I'm not joking, I would cash in. I genuinely would. I don't think he'd be massively missed at Tottenham. I really don't. Because if you look at the individual errors he makes, I think we can cover that with another defender.
Yep. And sorry, Ash, we moved on from Son. We went back to Romero. I know.
That's all good, man.
Sorry, guys, I've got to head off. But
I'm going to end the show in a minute as well.
Right.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on Son? What's your thoughts on Son, guys? Big up, Andrew, bro, if you got to go. Big up.
So I can wait for a few minutes. It's fine.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Son before you leave then? And I'm going to wrap it then.
Personally, I don't think he's completely finished. I think he's completely out of form. You can tell that he's sulking at the moment. I mean, I sit on row 1 at White Hart Lane, and I see his facial expressions, the way he is, even him shouting at other players. And to be honest with you, he kind of does look sick of it. When he was trying to shout at Dominic Solanke, he wanted Dominic to drag towards him, and Dominic wasn't doing it. And he kind of just throws his hands in the air, and then he turns around to the crowd, and the crowd obviously losing their head. He looks sick of it. I think he looks sick of this system, if I'm being honest with you. I do think there is. Still, I do think there is still a player in Son, but honestly, I just feel like he's a bit of a sulker, and I feel like he needs to kind of like stop this nonsense because he still does act like a bit of a kid. Even I know it sounds stupid. I might get crucified, but when you look at the training videos, he's quite a childish man.
Yeah. Is that Michael Jackson?
Yeah, like I'll be honest with you, like I can't imagine going on the Arsenal training ground and seeing players act like that. I can't, me personally.
You're not rating it then?
I can't imagine going on the City training ground and seeing players act like that as well. He's like, I see him in one video, and him and Sarr are slapping each other's heads, and it's kind of like, come on, seriously, like. And then on the weekend, his body language this season hasn't been good, and like I said, I'm there every game on row one, and it just hasn't been good. So I feel like there is a player in there, but he does need to kind of like get over this little sulk that he's having.
I mean, the Bournemouth game, his passing was atrocious. There were a few times we could have hit him on the counter, and he just misplaced passes, probably 3-4 passes.
He was awful.
I've never seen that before from him. I don't know, something is going on, but maybe the captaincy is weighing too hard on him.
I haven't seen him throw his hands in the air. I'll be honest with you. This season is probably the first time I've seen him throw his hands in the air and actually start shouting at players. So it's the reason why I say that I think he's a bit sick of this.
Do you know what it is? I think he lost a step. I think he is frustrated with himself. I think he's not as explosive. He cannot take all the players on as before. He lost a step, and I think he pushes himself too much. And I think he's frustrated with not being able to do what he could in the past.
Do you think like Son hears those comments when people say, he's not a captain, he's not a leader, Do you think that gets to him as well?
He heard it on Sunday from our side, 100%. There was fans absolutely pelting him. So basically, there was a break in play, and he's come over to grab some water, and there was two fans. I'm not saying I'm one of them, and we were absolutely pelting him, and he heard every word we said. Trust. Wow. I mean, every word they said.
I just
you know the problem, Andy.
Ash,
still.
Can you bring that Son? Still. Can you bring that comment back up? Because I think this is part of the problem, right?
This one.
We look at We will grab on anything to put a positive light on something that's clearly a problem, right?
The same as Johnson, by the way. When I saw this comment, it literally reminded me of Johnson. It's just nonsense.
I'll tell you what my issue is with this, okay? Heung-min Son had the best clinical finishing stats in Europe a couple of years ago. He was the most potent finisher in European football. Now, that's the bar he set. When we look at this now, Son, 5 goals, 4 assists. Look how many poor passes or attacks broke down from him now, and how many chances he misses. He's dropped off massively.
Yeah.
Is he rubbish? No. Is he good enough for where we want to be now? No. Unfortunately, like many players, you get to that point and you drop off, and either you need a change of scenery to regalvanize your career. So maybe if he goes to Liverpool, I'm not saying it's a fact. If he goes to Liverpool for one season, maybe it's a new energy, a new life, a new culture, and he gives one badass season for Liverpool, or just maybe he needs to go to a lower level now, and that's where he's at. It happens to every player, and I think for me, that's where Son's at.
Well, still, do you think he's finished?
I don't think he's finished, but he's not the Son that was. Harry Kane is still doing the business. I don't think Son's at that level anymore.
So do you think he's finished without obviously Harry Kane's not at our club anymore. So I'm saying, do you still think do you think he's finished, or do you still think he can offer us something?
Is it too early in the season?
An easier question is, if I gave you an upgrade on in the summer, would you take it and sell Son?
100%, I'd sell Son and take the upgrade. Can he still offer us something? Wow. Listen, I'd rather have Son on the bench.
I'm surprised
than Werner and Richarlison. I would.
That's crazy.
So you wouldn't give him that 1-year extension that Spurs are just about to activate?
Only if we keep Werner, then I'd keep Son. If we get rid of Werner and we get rid of Son and bring in a proper replacement, then I'd do it. It depends what we do, because what I don't want is we keep Werner but get rid of Son. I don't want to do that. I don't want us to keep Richarlison but get rid of Son. If we get rid of them two but have him as a backup player, but then bring another signing for the first team, then I'd keep Son.
Do you know the reason why I'm asking? Because I saw a thing today on Son. He's currently on 190 grand a week. That's what he's on.
And I was thinking that as well. Go on.
Now if he gets a 1-year extension, it goes up by 22 grand. So he will then be on 212 grand a week. I mean, I saw some of the stats I saw.
He's not performing at that wage price.
I agree, which is the reason why I asked you, would you keep him?
But the revenue that he generates
at
well surpasses any wages.
Of course, he generates loads, and there's loads of Korean.
Are we keeping a player for marketing reasons, or because we're going to improve?
Well, Levy will. I wouldn't, but we know how.
There's a reason why we've just signed Yang. By
that's
the way,
the problem, then, isn't it?
There's a reason why we've just signed Yang, and it's literally for that. So forget about marketing, but at 212 grand a week, I don't think I would activate him to be a bench player personally.
It's a good question, guys. What do you think about that? What will Son's numbers be at the end of the season? And what would you deem as acceptable for him to have a 1-year extension, for example?
Right. We are currently we are currently 3 games away from halfway through the season. So right. What figures is this guy going to post? It's going to be a big
goals, maybe 13 goals.
Yeah, it at 12 goals. It at 12 goals, 100%.
I mean, like I said before, I would do with him what Pep is doing with KDB. Just play him once in a while, maybe end of games, every couple of games. I think if we save his legs, he might help us.
Eugene, do you think that the club, as well as fans, are too emotionally attached to players?
Yes.
Is that the reason why Spurs are so slow in moving players on when they're at their peak, when they're really hot, and then we can use that money, a bit like what Liverpool did with Coutinho. They use that money to fund and help rebuild, and as you say, like, quality over quantity. Do you know what I mean? And then we've also got a problem. Yeah, go on.
Actually, you see Chelsea. A lot of clubs criticise Chelsea. Oh, money this, money that. Forget right now, but the last 5 years under Abramovich, they were very self-sustainable. They sold their goalie for how much money? 70 million. They sold Hazard for 100 million. They sold David Luiz for 50 million. Chelsea actually sold at big prices and reinvested in quality. And they kept winning. My issue is this at Spurs. People are saying sell Romero now whilst he's still got value. Sell Son now whilst he's still got value. My issue is this. If you're going to sell them, we sold Harry Kane for value. What the fuck did we bring in, man? We sold the best player at the club for 100 million. What did we bring in? So my concern is we're not a club.
Madison as well, technically.
You all right. How's that working out?
Not good enough.
How's that working out?
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Still is right. I agree 1,000%.
Yeah, you're right. Still, you're all right. You're all right.
No,
Liverpool sell big. They bring in big. We sell. If we sell one player for 100, we'll bring in 5 players for that money.
Look, at Spurs, if you don't win trophies, the fans have to hold on to something, and it's the players. So that's why everybody is holding on to Son, because
makes sense.
But nothing else.
For me, I just feel like
it's true.
The only way this club's going to get any success is if they're cutthroat. And it should be very, very simple from the manager, especially. If the manager's got any balls at all, it should be very, very simple to say, if you guys fuck this season up, your contracts are all on the line. And that's the honest truth. I feel like Son, I don't think we should just be like, give him a new contract. He needs to prove something, because on 200 grand a week, that doesn't warrant an extension just because of the fact that we've got a player there. It's going to cost us X amount to get another player in. The fact of the matter is he's coming to the end of his cycle. I think every player, bar 1 or 2, should have their contracts on the line this season, because we are all sick. No, you have to be ruthless. Let me tell you something.
I love it. I respect it.
The reason why we have not been successful in 15 years, and I'm alluding to the trophy, is because we haven't been ruthless, Ash, because we kept Eric.
You're right.
Because we kept Ben Davis for too long, because we bought mediocre players on high wages, and we've kept all of these players. We bought Tanga Ndombele for 65 million, had to cancel his contract. We fouled on 55 million pound with Lo Celso. They weren't cutthroat enough, and they were sending them out on loan because they couldn't do nothing. By the end of it, guess what they had to do? They had to pay off Ndombele. They sent Dyer away after 10 years. We've still got Ben Davies. You have to be cutthroat. How can you not be cutthroat in this business? It doesn't make any sense. Why should they be a given to be there next season? What? Because they've been at Tottenham for 10 years.
Just the last thing though, just before you go, just the last thing. I promise I'm going to end it now. The last thing, all of you, and you answer first, Andrew, then you can go. But how does Ange? Because let's face it, it looks like the board are behind him.
They are, yeah.
What can he do? Can he do anything? Like, what would you do if you're Ange? Can he do anything to change that fortune? Like,
what I would do is I'd change. He needs to change himself. If you don't change himself, the fortune ain't going to change. As I said to you earlier, a sign of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. Nothing's going to change. Okay, so he needs to adopt new tactics. I agree with Still. I think they've completely found him out. They've found him out his inverted wingers. They've found him out where the space are when the inverted wingers go. They found out when to take the ball possession off Spurs for there to be spacing behind us. He has to change. He has to have different ways of playing. He has to kind of take a little bit of note from what Maresca done on Sunday. Go from different formations. I see Amorim do it for Man United as well. He changes up formation, three at the back. No, I'm going to go forward at the back. No, I'm going to go back to three at the back. He has to have different ways of playing. You're not going to gain success by doing the same crap every single time. Because when they figure you out, like the smaller teams have, with all due respect to them, sit into a low block, we don't have the quality to break that low block down. So therefore, he has to have another way of playing. If he hasn't got another way of playing, he needs to leave. Because the honest truth is, he's been very, very arrogant in the last year and a half for somebody who hasn't won anything, who wants to tell us he wins stuff. But actually, tactically, I believe he's so inept. So for Postecoglou to change, he has to change himself. He has to change the tactics, and he has to change the transfer policy. Okay, and the transfer policy is not all up to him, but what is in his control is his tactics, okay, and his style of play, because he has to adapt to different teams. His problem is he hasn't adapted to other teams that come and play us in a different way. He thinks one size fits all. It doesn't fit all. You have to adapt to specific teams. He adapted well to the bigger teams because they give us space. He hasn't adapted to teams with a low block. He's proved it with every smaller team that we have played. He has to change that tactic.
Eugene, real quick, what do you think, man?
Give me a minute. So this is
Yeah,
you might think I'm crazy, but after the Chelsea game, I had this big argument in the WhatsApp group with James and other people because I've been really Ange-in. And I wasn't sure why, because I could see the tactics don't really work, but I was really Ange-in. And I feel like that with the traditional manager, the way this club operates, we're not going to win. So the only way in my mind, or at least unconsciously how I was thinking is, the only way for us to win something is to have an unorthodox manager that might play some crazy tactics and we might get lucky and win a cup or two. If we get a regular manager, given the backing, nothing is going to happen. So maybe me like seeing Ange play this style of football, I'm like, you know what? Maybe in a cup, if we get lucky, we might win. That's my thought process.
But what do you think he has to change, though? Is there something because he hasn't been winning of late? But what do you think he needs to possibly to get into winning ways in get a consistent run? Because that's something he hasn't been able to do. He hasn't been able to get a consistent run of games.
I agree with the guys. For example, the Fulham game, that was the first time I was like, what is going on? We cannot press with a front line of, Werner, Solanke, Johnson, and Madison. It's suicidal. And we paid for it. Ange definitely needs to adapt more and respect the opponent and needs to game plan for each game individually versus saying this is how we play and that's it. He's not going to do it. It is what it is. And he'll pay for it ultimately. Is he a good fit for us long-term? No. Is he good enough to win us a cup? Potentially. I still think so. But to your question, I want to see him adapt a bit.
So you do want to see him adapt?
He's not going to do it.
Yeah.
He's not going to do it. Unfortunately.
So, okay, cool. So you don't think there is a solution for Ange then?
Just the player. Like, I think we'll get we would get better
Just the
results
players. Okay.
with a better squad if he gets the players that actually fit his system
Okay.
that he
I'm with you.
needs.
Yeah.
But as far as kind of if you look at what we have on the bench and his
Mm.
tactics, nothing is going to change.
Right.
So if he gets some
With you.
players in January, I think we can win a cup.
Okay. And Stelios, just to finish off, bro. Yep. We said, how can Ange, in your mind, turn things around, at least in the short term, because we're in a poor run of form at the moment, 7-1, I think it is.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's easy to answer as well. He needs to hand in his resignation and leave the club because he's not fit to be the Spurs manager. He just shouldn't be the Spurs manager. You can give him whatever players you want. Tactically, he's still going to expose us, and I'm done with him. I want him gone. Bring in a manager that's more balanced, that knows how to defend and attack, and see if we can win a trophy with this squad that way. This guy, for me, Ash, I couldn't
Let's
care less.
assume that the board are gonna stand by him, which they said they are, but I don't know how true.
They won't if we keep falling down the table.
All
They
right,
won't.
cool. But what would you say, like, if he's to save his skin? Then let me change the question. If he's to save his skin, how would he do it? That's what I want to know.
He needs to ditch his philosophy and respect the fact that there's bloody good managers in this league and there's teams that are capable and he needs to respect them, which means the way you want to play, Ange, you can't do it every game, every minute. Maybe you can do it for parts of a game. Maybe you can do it for all of the game. Maybe you can't do it for any part of the game. But the whole point of a manager is game management. That's where you earn your money. Watch how the game's going and say, right, we need to adapt for this part of the game, or we need to completely change this from top to bottom, or keep going, keep doing what we're doing. That's what he needs to change, Ash. You know, you could see against. You're gone.
I was going to say, so basically, do that Man City, because remember you said you were impressed with that Man City kind of win. Kind of use that as a blueprint. Maybe adapt that more into other games.
I thought every player on the pitch against Man City was superb. I thought every single player was superb that day. I know City were there for the taking.
City
and
were
I know
trash.
City. Huh? Say again? Sorry?
City were trash, though. I was there. They were so
Listen,
bad.
City, we caught them at the right time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but other teams played them at the right time. No one pumped them 4-0.
I-
But against the low block, it's not going to work, right? We don't have
I think
the players to play
What about
against.
West Ham then? West Ham, obviously,
but
we beat them quickly.
Eugene, against the low block, it won't work. Fine. But that's when you adapt. We adapted to what City are capable of. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying be exactly how we were against City, but he adapted a lot of things for that City game. Partly City pushed us back, but partly he changed it as well. I want to see him do that every single game. Whether it works or not, it doesn't matter for me. But it's progression, and I think we'll be a lot better. But he's not going to do it, man. He's not going to do it.
Still, you're forgetting one thing, mate.
Yeah.
It's who we are, mate. It's who we are, mate.
That's who we are.
All right, guys, on that note, obviously, these guys have predicted Southampton win and a Rangers win. But yeah, we're going to end the show on that. We're going to end the show on that. Since we're doing comedy, we're going to end the show on that note. Big up to the panel. Obviously, I wasn't about for the first part.
Wait,
Big up
Ash, I think we're going to
Marlon.
beat Rangers, by the way. I think we're going to beat them.
I think we'll beat Rangers and Southampton. I'm
I
being
think
serious.
it's a draw and beat Southampton.
I don't know about Southampton.
What do
I
you
don't
reckon,
know.
Eugene? What do you think?
I don't know.
You think
No, we're going to
draw or
beat
not?
Rangers,
Oh,
my
easy,
draw,
huh? Yeah.
given on the squad. But Southampton, I think we're going to win.
Rangers have got Celtic in the cup final on Sunday. I don't
Yeah,
think their
well,
mind's on this game.
Yeah, they're going to put their B team.
High
They're
line, mate.
going to put their B
Take
team.
the high line, mate.
But yeah,
Wow.
big up to the panel earlier.
I'll take it.
Marlon, he was holding it down. Big up Deji. I heard he was about earlier. I think Stel finally got to meet up with him. Eugene, big up his debut here.
Thanks for
Love
having
for
me,
coming
man.
on, bro.
Appreciate it.
Long due over course, bro. Long due, man. Long due. Big up Andrew as well for coming on. Great panelists again. Stel, thanks for coming on again. Any final words, guys, before I wrap up?
I just said it. It's who we are, mate.
All right, please.
Yeah,
make sure-
Eugene, I unblocked you from our channel.
For now.
Brilliant.
We'll see.
Now,
We'll see.
Brilliant. Guys, it's been a pleasure.
Ash,
Yeah?
That's
Please
what
make
happened
sure
to
you
the
like.
channel.
Thank you. Please make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, you do all of that fun stuff, man. And yeah, also big up to the chat as well, man. Me making it spicy as always.
Oh,
but-
can I